Sees about 2,000 without power around Munster and Porter this morning. Authorities are investigating after 2 women were killed in a rollover crash on Chicago's far south side. State police say a vehicle traveling on I-57 slammed into a pole early yesterday near 99th Street. Police are searching for the person who shot and killed a teenager in Calumet City. 17-year-old Jason Griffin wounded Saturday in the 600 block of Hirsch and later pronounced dead nearby. A group of Chicago police officers and family members gathered outside a police district station holding a prayer vigil for an officer last week and others killed nationwide in recent weeks. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson saying police are currently working through difficult times. Chicago Public School officials say testing has found high levels of lead in the water of 99 of the district schools. Officials say all of the schools had at least one sink or water fountain that had water with more lead than the federal EPA action level standards of 15 parts per billion. A Republican state representative resigning from the Illinois House citing what he called cybersecurity issues. House Republican floor leader Ron Sandak of Downers Grove issued a statement Sunday that he began to reevaluate his role after the issues came up. He also says he's no longer willing to miss important family events. Chicago sports, Cubs over Milwaukee 6-5, while the White Sox took a pair in comeback fashion from the Tigers 4-3 and 5-4. The White Sox are suspending Chris Sale for that jersey incident for 5 games. Or 5 days. He'll be back for Thursday's game against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. The news, a service of Burger King's Grilled Dogs. Where are you going to get that delicious grilled hot dog? Your backyard? Nope, Burger King. Burger King Grilled Dogs made with 100% beef, flame grilled to perfection. Burger King, flame grilling hot dogs since 2016. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
When news breaks.
The attacker's name was Micah Johnson. He was 25 years old.
A long way along this boardwalk, there are bodies littering the streets.
This is the place you come to hear about
Rumors all day yesterday had swirled that it would in fact be Mike Pence.
This is also the place you come to talk about it.
Today is a very sad day in America.
News, opinion, insight.
I got to tell you, we're furious.
AM 560, The Answer.
We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. Hi, Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Payroll of America. If you are like me and are listening to this station, chances are we hold some common values and truths we hold self-evident. That's the main reason Precision Payroll attracts great clients and great employees. Precision Payroll of America operates at the core with fundamental principles that drive our attitude and delivery of service. We work hard to provide the best in pricing and value. In addition, with our great team that has been with us a long time, you are ensured a lasting relationship with people who understand your needs and always stand ready to serve. What sets us apart is that we view what we do as a great opportunity to serve others in a professional and technical capacity while building long-lasting relationships. That's what we treasure. If this message hits home, please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507 or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
5:06. Let's get an update on those early morning roads and see if CTA is back to normal, among other things. In our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, here's Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. Well, Mike, the good news on the trains, things are getting back to normal. The brown and red lines have been back to regular service for some time, and now blue line trains are also getting back to their regular schedule after that track obstruction. So service is pretty much back in full swing for the morning rush on the rails. The roads, different story. The intersection of 35th and Indiana is shut down. Police are investigating a shooting northwest side. The intersection of Diversey, Western, and Elston is partially blocked. Down traffic signal post right in the roadway, so buses are being rerouted. In Northbrook, lane closures on Waukegan Road in each direction between Shermer and Walters due to a water main break. On the Kennedy, the express lanes are now open on the inbound side. We're not seeing any delays right now in any of the area expressways and tollways. Traffic is a service of CiCi's Pizza. Can you believe it? CiCi's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas. Original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuffed. Try them all and your other CiCi's favorites for just $5 and change. The CiCi's buffet just got better. Believe it. traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
A mostly sunny day today with a high 87 and a clear night, low 67. Full day of sunshine tomorrow, high 89 and a clear night, low 67. Clouds and sun Wednesday, high 88. Thunderstorm late at night, low 69. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
73 at O'Hare, 76 along the lakefront. Next news, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Back in studio. Starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Heard Saturdays at noon right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear me.
Wait, can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you see me? Do you feel me? Are you scared?
Those are deep metaphysical questions I'm not prepared to answer at 5 a.m. We are back in Chicago.
Yeah, it was weird driving to work.
Yeah.
I forgot how to get here. I had to GPS it.
You were halfway to Toledo when you turned around and said,
Really?
wait, I don't work in Cleveland.
Why am I on the Ohio Turnpike? Yeah, and I already miss it a little bit.
Yeah, well, we could have gone to Philadelphia, but that's a lot of punishment. So instead, we sent our technical producer, Dave Stripling, to Philadelphia, and he'll have some man-on-the-street interviews to give us a flavor of what's happening on the ground there.
I know. Who could have thought that this would happen?
Well, cane fever
Wow.
sweeping Philadelphia, no doubt.
Yeah, that and, the emails. There's always some emails surrounding the Clintons.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
And Todd Christensen deposed as the Democrat National Committee chairman.
You know what?
She serves out this convention quietly, and then she gone.
She don't know what she's doing. I'm going to go gavel to gavel, then I'm going to leave. And you know where her new job is with the Clinton campaign.
Yeah,
she's going to be focusing on the individual states. That's what they're calling it, and then later maybe join on the actual hang out with Hillary.
Well, we'll get to that, and I'm glad DWS is out after the DNC and going to HRC because this allows us to continue to use the catchphrase that a caller gave us and we expropriated that we can't use anymore because of her vice presidential choice. But now we have DWS and HRC as grumpy old menopause.
Oh, hey-oh.
So
That's right.
it still works, and that's
Still in
what
the
I'm
family.
excited about. But before we get to all that, we've got to update this story that Mike Scott was reporting on, and that's this nightclub shooting in Fort Myers, Florida. 2 dead, up to 16 or 17 people injured. This just happened a few hours ago, so details are sketchy at this point. Club Blue Bar and Grill in Fort Myers. Witnesses suggesting it was. I guess
It was
they were
a teen bar.
Well, no,
That's what everyone kept saying.
They were hosting a teen event. Is what Fox News
what
is
could
reporting.
go wrong?
But witnesses say up to 30 shots fired. I mean, this is in the fog of a horrific event, so it's difficult to rely too much on that. And apparently, Fort Myers police have 3 persons of interest in custody. We don't know motive. We don't know responsible parties, persons of interest, not suspects, not suspected shooters. But that's what we know about this, and we'll obviously update this as the story develops, which I'm sure it will over the next several hours.
They say those 3 suspects were all in the same car, fleeing the scene, and cops are after them. So then 2 jumped out and tried to run, and they're being questioned right now. But it happened, in the parking lot of this teen club, and I heard a teenage girl being interviewed.
Teen event at a club.
Pardon? A teen event, excuse me. And it was just awful. Obviously, they didn't expect that to come. People, of course, when they heard the shots at first, thought it was part of the song, because that's exactly what happened in Orlando, too. They thought it was part of, the pow, pow, pow was part of the techno Latin music.
Well, and Bataclan, too, with that heavy metal band.
Yes, that's right.
Same thing. So we'll update that. Obviously, we've had a carnage since we last joined you at 9 o'clock on Friday in Munich, in Ansbach, in Kabul, in Baghdad. It has been a bloody weekend, just starting with Munich. This is an individual, Iranian German.
Yeah, he was born in Germany. His parents are Iranian.
He apparently was planning this rampage at this outside the McDonald's at this mall for more than a year. Here we know he obtained the guns illegally. We know he had previously been under psychiatric care. We know he was an avid player of first-person shooter video games. So do we have to talk about that now too, in terms of first-person shooter video games? Are those a proximate cause of these rampages, and so those should be banned or more highly regulated?
Well,
is that where we're going to go next?
Well, more troubling for me is the books that he had in his bedroom about mass shootings and school shootings in particular.
Right. And then it was interesting, the coverage of this over the weekend, because there was a real effort, including the way his name was presented in certain periodicals, to not cast this as Islamic-related terrorism. Now, ISIS has not claimed credit for this, but according to a witness, the shooter in Munich said something that was particularly relevant in this day and age.
I hear this like an alarm. Boom, boom, boom. And he still killing the children. They make nothing. The children were sitting to eat. They can't run. I hear this, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. This I know because I'm Muslim too. I hear this and I only cry.
She heard the shooter say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. She knows this because she is Muslim too, so she recognized it immediately. And so this is a person that had a psychiatric history, but nonetheless, that is relevant to the discussion. I would suggest that he invoked Allahu Akbar while he was murdering people.
Yeah,
9 people
murdered. I think he was not directly linked to ISIS, but he's inspired by ISIS, and he used his social media to spread out to the news to people. There's free stuff
to lure people
to the outside of that McDonald's.
Yeah,
and that's all I don't know if it was a tweet, but he put out on their social media free stuff. Facebook,
yeah.
Come here, and I don't know if that, but people seem like they're already there eating. But it was an American company. It was McDonald's, American owned. What happened at the airport in Belgium? It was in front of American Airlines kiosk, in front of Starbucks. So I just think there's always a theme to get to kill people, but to also kill Americans.
Perhaps.
But the mom, too. In this case, I have to tell you, the mom, moms, I know it's so hard to let go of your boys, your little baby boys, but check what's in their bedroom, especially if they're 18, they're still living at home, and they've had psychotic episodes in the past. That's when you go through their stuff. It's okay. It's your house. You can do it. I have a very good friend, Dan, who I recently found out quit her job to babysit her son, who is 17 years old, because she said to me yesterday, she said, I don't want to be a Columbine mom, because that's where it's heading.
Well, I understand, and I obviously agree with the idea of vigilance, but I also, you just want to hesitate before you hold parents accountable. And it's easy to do so when it's somebody that's not sympathetic. It's a little bit more difficult to do so when it's somebody you otherwise respect, isn't it? Because we've seen this play out. And the most interesting thing was David Brown, the police chief in Dallas, whose son is a cop killer, and then was killed by cops after he shot and killed a police officer. Is everybody rushing to hold David Brown, the police chief in Dallas, responsible?
No, but his son wasn't still living at home like this kid was.
I understand. Every circumstance is different. Yeah. I completely understand. But my point is just to say, when it comes to holding third parties materially responsible for another individual's action, even if it's a family member, even if it's somebody that's close to the offender, just restrain yourself and gather information before you suggest something that may not just hold up under scrutiny. That's my only point. It's just easy to kind of expand the circle and say, why didn't you do something, and why didn't you do something, and why didn't this other person do something, and why didn't the San Bernardino neighbors contact police when they were suspicious? You can understand answers as to that question of why, even if you hope you would have done something different or you would have done more in the circumstance. That's all I'm saying. Now, when it's somebody like the father of the Orlando shooter, when he's kind of has delusions of grandeur in Afghan politics, and he's an otherwise sympathizer to the Taliban. That.
And he's dressed up and ready to go anytime the media comes to his house. Oh, you want to talk to me? Come on in.
More scrutiny.
Yes.
Clearly, if is a family member or a girlfriend or a wife is a participant in casing a target, in obtaining the weapons of destruction, that's a different story.
Speaking of that, why hasn't that wife been charged yet?
Well,
still waiting. I know they had convened a grand jury, but nothing yet. And it's been a few months.
Well, it's, you have something as horrific as what happened in Orlando and as complicated and with all the investigation that needs to go into a site and an incident where 49 people were murdered and countless others injured. That takes time. So, I think it's a legitimate question, and I think we should stay on this because the authorities down there are going to have to provide some final answer to that question of who are you suggesting was responsible in addition to the shooter for that Orlando nightclub? No one? And then why is that? Why is the individuals you were looking at, why are they not responsible? But you're right to kind of continue asking that question and keep the pressure on prosecutors down there to make sure that anybody who had a substantive role in that terrorist attack is held accountable. There's no question. And then just in addition to Munich, we had a Syrian refugee in Ansbach, Germany, blow himself up outside a music festival after he was not let in. Thankfully, no one killed, but 12 injured. So that's another one. Three terrorist attacks in Germany in the past 2 weeks. The guy in the train, the 18-year-old Afghan with the axe, who injured, 15 people? Nobody died, thank goodness. And then what happened in Munich, and now this. And 4, actually, because there's the other one. This over the weekend, a 21-year-old Syrian refugee arrested on Sunday after killing a pregnant woman with a machete in Germany. That's the 4th violent assault on civilians in Western Europe and Germany in just the last 10 days. He was an asylum seeker as well. He injured 2 other people, killed a pregnant woman with a machete. That combined with suicide bombings in Baghdad and Kabul, 80 dead in Kabul. And you know what those guys did? They dressed up in burqas. So people didn't even suspect them. They put it underneath. They were women and had that, so nobody knew what was underneath the burqa. And 14, I think the last count was 14 dead in Baghdad. Oh, boy.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine for your back-to-work Monday, and it will be less humid, a high of 88 degrees. Tonight, clear, a low in the 60s, so that's nice. And tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, warm, but the humidity returns, highs in the low 90s. Let's get the travel times and say good morning to Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Amy and Dan. We've got all kinds of trees down throughout the area. Northwest side, there's a down traffic signal on the north side, a Diversey and Western, where Elston comes through as well. So the Diversey buses, the Western buses, all being rerouted because of that blockage of that intersection. South side, 35th and Indiana, blocked off. Police are investigating a shooting. The expressways look pretty good. After all the storms, no delays to report on the Edens or the Kennedy. The express lanes are now open on the Kennedy on the inbound side. Still good on 190. You'll expect some congestion there here in the next little bit. Eisenhower, Stevenson, and the Rhine still fine. Same goes for I-57 at the Bishop Ford. The tollways are delay-free. No problems to report on I-80 or northwest Indiana. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I am so glad I did it. I'm just mad at myself for waiting so long. Hi, Amy Jacobson here for CertaPro Painters. You know, our front porch had chipping and peeling. It looked old and run down, but thanks to CertaPro Painters, it looks brand new again. And trust me, my neighbors are happy I did it. And you know, it's not too late to book that painting project. But don't wait. Be sure to get on CertaPro Painters' summer painting schedule today. Call 800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You know, CertaPro Painters will work around your busy schedule to get your home looking picture perfect for all your summer entertaining. That's why CertaPro Painters says we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, It's not too late to get that painting project off your to-do list. Call now, 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, or visit CERTAPro.com today.
No one likes being stuck in traffic. It's the same gut-wrenching feeling you have when you're stuck with your company's health insurance plan. Like most employees, you worry about paying too much for health benefits and prescriptions. Unfortunately, you probably are. But the good news is you don't have to. I'm Jim Lorenz from Clear Insight, and I have helpful solutions to lower your costs and improve your employee benefit package. Don't change the prescription drug, change where you buy it. I will give you a tool that will provide the cost of your drugs at the pharmacies near you. You'll seek out a gas station just to save 10 cents a gallon. So why don't you do the same with your health insurance and prescription drug benefits that could save you hundreds? I apply the same concepts to your health benefits. With plan design and simple technology, we're able to grant the rewards that help keep that copay in your pocket. As someone who's been in the health industry for over 25 years, I know firsthand that one-size benefits do not fit all. Talk to your HR person or manager. Tell them to visit clearinsightbenefits.com. See how we can return benefits to your employee benefits package.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, well, hear about it from your friends. Find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So what do you think about Hillary's selection of Virginia Senator and former Virginia Governor Tim Kaine to be her running mate? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. They rolled themselves out together for the first time in Miami.
Aren't they a cute couple?
Darling.
312-642-5600. No, they seem comfortable together. Hillary looked so happy, like, look, he speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
No one mimics human emotion like Hillary Clinton. Citizen Kane, as it were, although...
no, Donald Trump said crooked Hillary and corrupt Kane. That was his immediate tweet, because I follow him on the Twitter there.
Yeah.
So corrupt...
Well,
crooked and corrupt.
Here's the thing about Tim Kaine. He puts a nice suburban dad veneer on being hard left, and that he's very conversational.
He's not hard left, is he?
He's not. What?
You think he's a Bernie Sanders? I mean, a flaming liberal progressive?
No, I didn't say he was a socialist.
Okay.
I said he's hard left.
All right.
So he's more of a left corporatist, and this is why Bernie Sanders didn't like the pick. He was hoping for that shrieking Harridan from Massachusetts. But Tim Kaine, he has this. He's very conversational. I thought he gave a pretty good introductory speech at their rally in Miami where he was rolled out, and he even offered a little bit of the Espanol, which I know has great appeal to you.
Y bienvenidos a todos. Bienvenidos a todos en nuestro país, ¿verdad? Porque somos americanos todos.
All together.
This
country.
What did he say? We surrender? Is that what he said?
No. He said we're all together. País is country. In this country, we're one.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you know. But yeah, he was a mayor, a governor, a senator.
Right, career politician.
Career politician. But you know what he did? He blew through Mizzou in 3 years, then went to Harvard, then took a year and learned Espanol in Honduras, otherwise known as Honduras. And his dad owns a metal factory plant in Kansas City. So that he went back there and worked with the people on the line and kept up with his Spanish. See?
Yeah.
So he's the working class guy. He's the blue collar guy.
He's the working class
blue collar guy. That's how they were trying to promote him.
Yeah. So he's not, but that's how they're trying to promote him. No, I got that.
I mean, he's a safe choice, but my favorite part is when he said, and I wish we had it for you, maybe someday. He said he's boring. That maybe said, I am not a flashy politician. I'm really boring.
Yeah, I concede the point.
And I'm gonna go. Bye. I'm so boring.
It's in some respects it's a similar choice to Pence. It's somebody that comes to the table without much controversy.
Yeah, exactly.
And is not going to detract much from the principal candidate. Although frankly, in both cases, you probably wanted to have a little bit of detraction from the principal candidate and show a broader appeal than either Trump or Hillary Clinton provides. But I think I think that's right about Kaine. But it's funny to hear the reporting on this. It says a couple of things. One, it's buying the left's narrative about Tim Kaine, and two, it says something about how radically left the Democrats are. All your Lakeview lady friends. Tim Kaine's personal feeling about abortion could become a 2016 issue, because Tim Kaine pretends to be Catholic, and he's Catholic like
Catholic light.
No, I mean he's Catholic like Joe Biden is Catholic. He's Catholic like Dick Durbin is Catholic. It's like a cultural association because of family heritage, but it's not anything where they take Catholicism seriously. It's almost like they're the president of DePaul University or Notre Dame. They don't take the faith seriously. They just kind of identify culturally as Catholic. But Tim Kaine has previously said, I'm personally pro-life. He has a 100% rating with NARAL and Planned Parenthood. Mm-hmm. Right? He is as pro-abort as Hillary Clinton is. And I mean that, pro-abortion. Not pro-choice. He's pro-abortion. But this idea, his personal feeling. So here's the thing. You can have, they've introduced him to some extent to, he's Catholic, like an affiliation, particularly with some of the blue-collar folks, white ethnics that Trump is appealing to in places like Ohio and Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. But here's the other point about this personal feeling false flag that is being raised. It shows you how intolerant of a diversity of opinion the left is, the modern Democrat Party. Could you imagine anybody doing what Peter Thiel did at the DNC this week? Peter Thiel, the billionaire Facebook investor, took to the stage, I'm proud to be gay, I'm proud to be a Republican, most of all, I'm proud to be an American. Applause.
Yeah.
Could you imagine anybody going to the stage at the DNC this week and saying, I'm proud to be white, I'm proud to be Christian, I'm proud to be pro-life? Even white and Christian would elicit boos, much less adding pro-life there. There is no tolerance to even have a personal feeling that you don't reflect in your public positions in the Democrat Party. That is the modern Democratic Party. The parameters of thinking could fit or essentially contained within the eye of a needle. And Tim Kaine is a great illustration of it.
Well, another thing Tim Kaine has done, he has never, ever lost an election. So that's another reason why Hillary was attracted to him.
Yeah.
Clinton Kaine, how does that sound?
There's a first for everything, Tim.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
Well, I had back pain for the last 40 years. 4 days after I started taking this stuff, it's gone.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago.
You've heard it. Illinois has the highest taxes in the nation. If you own a home, your mortgage payment is going up. Taxes, homeowners insurance are all increasing. This is Barbara Walters, president of Ameritrust. Think about this.
If your mortgage rate is 3.25% or above,
let's lower your mortgage payment. Anne refinanced and saved $649 per month on her mortgage payment. Alice refinanced and she saved $530 per month. And another couple saved $475 per month. No matter what, your mortgage payment is going to increase. Make the call, find out what your savings can be.
Ameritrust Mortgage. Call 815-459-7303, 815-459-7303, or go to am560myhome.com. Ameritrust Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee number 720, NMLS number 217229.
Hey, if you're a regular listener to Chicago's Morning Answer, you've heard about Turnkey IT, Chicagoland's leading IT service provider for small businesses. Well, Turnkey provides world-class support and customizable plans for businesses that have 5 to 100 users. Now, with some programs, you get all new equipment, free security, and antivirus protection. Sound great? Then why haven't you called Turnkey IT? Well, here's Turnkey IT's best offer yet. Through the summer, all AM 560 listeners receive their first month of service for just $1. That's right. Your business receives comprehensive coverage, including unlimited help desk and on-site support, network hosting, antivirus protection, and its first contracted month for just $1. Ready to make the switch? It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro now. That's turnkey.pro. Tell them AM 560 The Answer sent you so you can focus on the important things and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today.
AM 560 The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Cam Clinton accuses Trump of working with the Ruskies on the DNC leak.
But first, let's go to the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, 2 are dead, 16 others hurt after a shooting at a nightclub in Fort Myers, Florida. It was teen night, according to a local news media report there. At least one person has been detained. One other person of interest is being spoken to. The shooting happened during that event at Club Blue. The Democratic National Convention kicks off today in the city of brotherly love. Hillary Clinton will formally accept her party's presidential nomination when she addresses the convention Thursday night. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine will accept the vice presidential nomination.
I've been able to see how government works and how sometimes it doesn't, from just about every perspective.
Spokesperson for the Clinton campaign says Russia may have been behind the hacking of emails that led to the resignation of Debbie Wasserman Schultz as chair of the DNC.
There's a lot of signals suggesting definitely that the Russians were behind the hack. I mean, that has been attested to by experts, including top officials from the FBI, who ran the initial review of the DNC systems and concluded that it was indeed the Russians.
In an interview with Fox News, Clinton spokesman Brian Fallon, the Trump campaign, says they believe the Democratic National Committee has been pro-Hillary Clinton from the beginning.
Progressives in the Democratic Party have been cheated by the establishment, but then the WikiLeaks leaks of the Democratic emails over the last week proved that was always the plan.
Protests are underway at the Democratic National Convention already this morning. Protesters have been fueled by the Democratic Party's treatment of Bernie Sanders in light of the leaked emails. Germany shaken by a 4th attack in a week, a possible suicide bombing near a music festival that injured 12. 4 are dead, including following an accident involving a Dallas Cowboys team bus in Arizona. The crash occurring northbound on US 93. The 4 in the van were killed. Wildfire north of Los Angeles forcing the evacuation of more than 1,000. We'll be tracking the sand fire throughout this week. Verizon will buy out tech giant Yahoo. It is a business deal this morning worth nearly $5 billion. Severe storms have knocked out power to thousands, snarling some public transit in the overnight hours and into the early morning here in Chicago. And police are searching for a person who shot and killed a teen in south suburban Calumet City. Cubs beat Milwaukee. Sox take a pair from the Tigers. And the news, a service of Cici's Pizza. Can you believe it? Cici's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas, original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuffed. Try them all and your other Cici's favorites for $5 and change. The Cici's buffet just got better. Believe it. 5:36 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas. Best beans, best roast, best coffee.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-400-0067. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-400-0067. That's 1-800-400-0067. 1-800-400-0067.
537, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center time. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Michael. Trains are back on schedule after the overnight service disruptions on the brown, red, and blue lines. Now everything is back to normal for the morning rush, but not on the roads. Many trees down throughout the area. There's a traffic signal down on the north side at Diversey, Western, and Elston, so buses are being rerouted around that intersection. South side, the intersection of 35th and Indiana is closed as police investigate an earlier shooting. There are lane closures on Waukegan Road in Northbrook, in Walters and Shermer due to a water main break. Edens, Kennedy, and the Eisenhower are still looking good. Inbound Stevenson just a little heavy around Cicero. The Ryan has delays starting around 35th. 19 minutes to 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford got a 2-minute delay. Cottage Grove to the merge. Traffic. It's a service of Burger King's grilled dogs. Where are you going to get a delicious grilled hot dog? Your backyard? Oh, Burger King. Burger King grilled dogs are made with 100% beef. Flame grilled to perfection. Pick up a grilled dog today at participating Burger King restaurants. Flame grilling hot dogs since 2016. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, sunny, warm, a little less humid this afternoon with a high near 88. Currently 73. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560 The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11 right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So,
yeah,
Mr. Robot successfully hacked the real evil corp, the DNC. You watch that show, Mr. Robot?
Mr. Robot? No, I don't.
Does anybody watch that show, Mr. Robot?
Is anybody with Dan
Hello?
at home watching Mr. Robot?
Is this thing? Does anybody? Nobody watches Mr. Robot. This is like one of the new hot shows. It's on USA.
On USA Network.
Yeah.
What time does it air? What's the premise? Let me guess. It's about a robot named Mr. Robot.
No.
Oh.
What time does it air? I mean, are you 100 years old? Nobody asks that question anymore. You watch everything on demand. What time does it? Should I set my VCR for Friday nights at 8? No, don't do that.
Wait a minute. No, in my defense, that show that you watched on Sunday nights, that was appointment television for you.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. That show,
Right.
you know, when people die.
You're so current.
So
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, that was appointment television.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to see it when it was released. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm not that old.
No.
I'm just kind of old.
What time?
It'll
is it?
happen to you.
Day and time. Right, exactly. I'm on the cusp.
All right, so in Mr. Robot, what happened?
Well, he's a vigilante hacker. And so we have some vigilante hackers that via WikiLeaks released about 20,000 emails at DNC that had some very colorful conversations from DNC staffers about the Bernie Sanders campaign in particular, but not limited to that. Also some information about how they astroturfed Donald Trump protests, with the hotel trades and SEIU and Fight for 15. So a lot of astroturfing of Donald Trump orchestrated by the DNC. That's sort of what you'd expect. And a lot of working to undermine Bernie Sanders, which is also, I guess, something you'd suspect, given DWS's disposition towards Comrade Bernie. But now there's confirmation of it. And guess what? Bernie Sanders supporters on the cusp of the convention, none too happy, called for DWS's resignation over the weekend again. And this time, they got it.
Well, Bernie Sanders has maintained months ago, saying that he's going to do what he can to provide support to her opponent. Because that's how upset he was. He knew that this was
her primary opponent for a congressional
right,
seat.
For her congressional seat.
Yeah.
He wanted to oust her. He had no nice words for DSW. And she got busted. Busted. I mean, that one of the emails read, I think I read that he's an atheist. This could make a several point difference. And then she also went on to say that he is not going to be president. So there's evidence in these emails that maintaining all along what he had thought, that she was out to get him because she's in bed with Hillary Clinton.
Well, there's a couple of things here. A couple of the more interesting emails. You mentioned one of them there. The idea of
his Jewish heritage.
Right. He says he's Jewish, but a senior staffer at the Democrat National Committee suggesting, well, I think he's more of an atheist, and we can use that against him. We can try and use his religion or lack thereof against him in some of the southern states. This is from the DNC. Not to mention, this is about questioning Bernie Sanders' Jewish faith.
Jewish faith. But isn't Debbie Wasserman Schultz, isn't she Jewish too?
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, what's her faith? Is she really an atheist? Because we can use this against her
in
her congressional race.
Well, it shows you that the actual faith that is practiced by the DWSs and the HRCs of the world is naked pursuit of power. I mean, that's the faith. They're solipsists who will do anything in pursuit of their own political power. But here's the question, too. 70% of Jews voted for Barack Obama. What would they have said? And what do they say when people question Barack Obama's faith? He's not really a Christian. What do they say? What would they say if the RNC, if there were memos from the RNC, email exchanges from the RNC that said, we're going to go after somebody's Jewish faith because we don't think they're actually Jewish. They profess to be Jewish. We don't think they're actually Jewish. What would the response be? I'd love to hear a response from somebody who voted for Barack Obama, particularly somebody who is of the Jewish faith tradition, because I'd like a little bit of intellectual consistency here. Just a little bit of intellectual consistency. This is part of the Hillary campaign, the DNC, as is evidenced by the emails, in case you didn't know prior to, and you should have. What would the response have been if it was the RNC? What would
it would have been an outrage. I mean, that would have been the headline. That would have been, I mean, here they're questioning his religion. I had to dig deep to find out he was Jewish. I thought he was Jewish, but they never mentioned it. And then you look into the emails. Oh, yeah, they mention it.
Well, it had come. I mean, of course, his faith had come out in the primary campaign. Right. I mean, just like every candidate's faith tradition is raised as part of their profile. So not in a negative way, just as part of their profile. But that I just, and then of course they apologize because they got caught.
Right. They're not sorry. They're just sorry that they got caught.
Well, that's consistent with their principle.
But here's the thing.
Hillary Clinton on Charlie Rose last week, was it wrong what you did with the private email server? Was it wrong? It was wrong because look what occurred. It's wrong because I got caught. Exactly.
Right.
That's the philosophy of the amoral Clintonistas, and they are in all the staff positions at the DNC, starting with the former chairman.
But if you're the DNC chairman, don't you know better than to write this down in an email? I mean, aren't these things that you say during just conversations with people, maybe on a park bench? I mean, they're really that stupid that they put this all in an email? Everyone emails are getting hacked.
Well, the interesting thing about this is the spin, right? The effort. Right. So the Dickensian named Robbie Mook. Mook. That's Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. He was on with Jake Tapper. And the real issue here is not the leak. The real issue here is not the contents of the email. The real issue here is not targeting Bernie Sanders and using everything, including the kitchen sink, to go after him in the primary. The real issue is Trump is in bed with the Russians.
Experts are telling us that Russian state actors broke into the DNC, stole these emails, and other experts are now saying that the Russians are releasing these emails for the purpose of actually helping Donald Trump. I don't think it's coincidental that these emails were released on the eve of our convention here.
No,
my God,
I'm sure it's not coincidental.
No, when things go bad, blame the Russians. Because here's the deal. Putin wants Trump to win. That's what he said later on. That's the whole reason.
Right.
That the Russians hacked into Debbie Wasserman Schultz emails so that Trump will win.
Jake Tapper appropriately pushed Robbie Mook to provide some evidence to the charge of Trump being a Manchurian candidate for Putin.
What evidence is there that the Russians were behind this in terms of the hacking or in terms of the timing by WikiLeaks?
Well, we need to let the experts speak on this. It's been reported on in the press that the hackers that got into the DNC are very likely to be working in coordination with Russia. And again, I think if the Russians in fact have these emails, again, I don't think it's very coincidental that they're being released at this time to create maximum damage on Hillary Clinton and to help Donald Trump.
So it's unnamed experts and a lot of supposition about if they have them and if they did it, then it should be looked into and so on and so forth. It's the smear tactic of someone who wants to deflect attention away from the real story. They're caught with their hand in the cookie jar and projected onto somebody else. Well, Paul Manafort, of course, Trump's campaign manager, chairman, was on with Clinton Foundation donor Zero on ABC, and he responded to the MOOC charge.
Well, it's pure obfuscation on the part of the Clinton campaign. What they don't want to talk about is what's in those emails. And what's in those emails show that it was a clearly rigged system. Bernie Sanders never had a chance. And frankly, I think you're going to see some of that resentment boiling over this week in Philadelphia because WikiLeaks clearly uncovered what Sanders has been saying and what Donald Trump has been saying, which is that, once again, the establishment and the special interest, picked their candidate, Hillary Clinton, and made sure that nothing the people were going to do or say was going to interfere with her selection.
And then Manafort was pushed. Okay, well, you have business interests in Ukraine, and is there any, and the niceties exchanged between Trump and Putin during the course of this campaign, is there any connection between the Trump campaign and Putin?
Are there any ties between Mr. Trump, you, or your campaign, and Putin and his regime?
No, there are not. It's absurd, and there's no basis to it.
Yeah.
Well, Sanders supporters, real quick, I just wanted, they knew that this was coming, and now this morning we're learning that they're stepping up. They're adding even more security in Philadelphia because of Bernie Sanders' protests.
It's just something we've all known all along, that it's been corrupt and that they've been hiding things and pushing for Hillary.
I'll tell you, it's interesting. So all of the ginned up controversy regarding Paul Ryan presiding over the RNC and which party leader got sidelined, and all of the ginned up hysteria about the forthcoming unrest and chaos in Cleveland.
That never happened.
Never happened. We were there. And now which convention and which city looks like it's about to endure some real protesting? Oh, irony.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
Jordan in Forest Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The Clinton campaign and the DNC kind of reluctantly agreed to this left-leaning platform to placate the Bernie Sanders supporters, and I think somebody should ask Hillary Clinton, are you really going to implement all of these items? Because I think it's a joke. I think that Bernie Sanders supporters are being sold a bill of goods here, and they're not going to do any of this stuff. And I think the protesters, if they're smart, they would basically realize that this has all been a joke. They're only doing this to get our vote, and let's do something about it.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Jordan. I think an increasing number of Bernie Sanders supporters are in on the joke, and they may not go all the way to support Trump, but they may stay home. And that's a vote away from Hillary Clinton, which is why, as you were saying, Amy, when we were talking about during the break, her emphasis on progressive.
Oh, yeah. She said the word when she was introducing Tim Kaine 9 times.
Right. Because she's trying to cover her flank. And, and there's resistance to the idea of Tim Kaine. And so this is a way for her. No, really, he's a progressive.
No, progressive. We'll play it later, but it's funny. It's a little montage of all how progressive he is, Dan.
Larry and Bartlett, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan. You asked the rhetorical question, who are those unnamed experts? Well, it's obvious. It's all of the millennials with totally useless degrees who have nothing else to do but play Pokemon 2 or Go while they're living in their mom's basement.
There you go. Thanks for the revelation, Larry. Appreciate it.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Turn that on. Plenty of sunshine today. Less humid by this afternoon. That's nice. A high of 88. Tonight, clear. Lows in the 60s, which is good. Especially if you don't have AC. That's called air conditioning there, Prof. And then tomorrow, plenty of sunshine.
You with the lingo.
Yeah, warm and more humid. Again, a high near 90 degrees. Anything high on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Still got a number of closures, Amy and Dan, after the storm damage last night. A lot of trees down. There's a traffic signal down on the north side, blocking the intersection of Diversey, Western, and Elston. South side, 35th and Indiana is closed as police investigate a shooting. Northbrook, Waukegan Road is down to one lane. Each direction between Shermer and Walters. Water main break. The Monday morning rush to O'Hare is on. The outbound Kennedy has delays central to Sayre. It's 28 minutes downtown to the airport. Tack on additional delays on westbound 190. Inbound Eisenhower heavy Manheim to First. 32 minutes Thorndale to downtown. Stevenson, 37 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Bishop Ford, just a 2-minute delay, Cottage Grove to the Merge. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
It's time for a little R&R, courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Escape to Wisconsin with an overnight stay package for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Milwaukee. Spend the night in Molly's room, their 2-room luxury suite with a private bath and a concierge service. It includes breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies. Yours for only $85 per couple. That's a $169 value. Hey, and if you need to stay closer to home but want a night out, laugh out loud and be a part of the show at Comedy Sports Improv. Tickets normally $44 a pair. You can find them at CRD for only $22. And be sure to get your car ready for some summer cruising with a deal from Fuller's Car Wash of Elk Grove Village. A full-service car wash package includes wash, vacuum, windows, dash, $18 deal for $10. So your summer fun is waiting for you. Only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGDirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-400-7052. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-400-7052. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-400-7052. 1-800-400-7052.
I'm Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity. In a 2004 interview on the topic of his faith, Obama was asked for his definition of sin. He answered, being out of alignment with my values. Obama told us in 2004 he was his own God. Obama signaled his belief that he is above the law, but the GOP failed to call the question and amplify his answer. Recently, Hillary was asked by Charlie Rose if what she did regarding her private email server was wrong. Hillary answered, quote, well, it was wrong because look what it has generated. Wrong only exists for Hillary when an act jeopardizes her inextricably linked political and financial interests. Hillary has already amplified the message that she, too, is her own God. In 2016, then, the GOP would do well to call the question, if you don't want America to become an autocratic theocracy, then you probably shouldn't vote for someone who thinks they're God, right?
AM 560, The Answer.
Wait, why were you laughing? Because when Debbie's done, Tad Christensen, you call her, Donna
Debbie
Brazil,
does HRC.
Hey, Donna Brazil's taking over for the interim. She'll be the interim head of the DNC. And guess who Harry Reid was pushing for yesterday? Our very own Dick Durbin. Harry Reid came out and said that he wants Dick Durbin to be the permanent chairman of the DNC.
Mm-hmm.
Does that surprise you? But why are you laughing about Donna Brazil?
She's a mope.
She's a CNN contributor. Isn't that a...
Yeah, if you watch
conflict
these
of interest,
if you watch these cable news shows, these pundit shows, you really see you have to have your stuff together. You have to have a quick wit and grand insight to be on these little roundtable discussions, don't you?
Ooh.
Oh boy,
you've made the switch. and it feels so good. You switch to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you suffer sinus congestion, trouble breathing through your nose, which gets worse when you lie down, facial pain, and sinus infections, antibiotics, nasal sprays, and steroids can only do so much. I'm Dr. Robert Deitch, and excited to tell you that recent advances in our field have opened exciting new doors. We're leading experts in a newer procedure called balloon sinus dilation that gently expands your natural sinus openings to fix underlying drainage problems. It takes 15 minutes and is performed in our office. Balloon sinus dilation is minimally invasive using local anesthesia and best of all delivers immediate and long-lasting relief. We're board-certified ENT specialists who can help you avoid expensive hospital visits and long recovery times.
For immediate and long-lasting relief from your sinus problems, call ENT Associates today at 847-882-5888 or visit nosinusproblems.com. That's ENT Associates at 847-882-5888 or online at nosinusproblems.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mark Weingart, President and CEO of Star Creations, Inc., the fastest growing supplier of wall decor products in the U.S. When it comes to banking, I don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. That's why I bank at Signature Bank Chicago. At Signature Bank, every customer is important. I know I can pick up the phone and talk to any one of the decision makers I know and trust at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, they understand and respond to the unique needs of my business with flexibility and fairness. I'm proud to bank with Signature Bank because I know they're deeply invested in the success of Star Creations.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll preview the sexual abuser and the other members of the Rogues Gallery that'll be speaking at the DNC this week at 6:06.
And later, political shocker, someone within President Obama's inner circle has decided to endorse Donald Trump. We'll tell you who and tell you why. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
The latest from Fox on that nightclub shooting in Florida this morning coming up in just a moment. And storms caused damage in Chicago and the suburbs. Mostly sunny day ahead. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Mayhem outside a Florida nightclub after midnight.
We got a gunshot victim in the middle of the parking lot.
That's police scanner audio from Broadcastify. At least 17 people were shot, 2 killed.
We need more units in the parking lot here.
It happened after what was billed as a swimsuit glow party for teens. A person of interest is in custody as police search for others.
There have been officers walking with huge guns and now they're canvassing the area. They're asking people questions, going door by door to see if anyone has any further information.
Stephanie Tinoco with Fox 4 TV. The Democratic convention starts today. After Republicans took shots at Hillary Clinton all last week, and she tells CBS 60 Minutes she's held to a different standard.
Unfounded, inaccurate, mean-spirited attacks with no basis in truth, reality, which take on a life of their own.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers is at the convention live in Philadelphia.
Well, Dave, today's DNC theme is United Together, and that's what the Clinton campaign is hoping will happen with regards to Bernie Sanders' supporters. He will speak tonight. That's after New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, First Lady Michelle Obama, and Senator Elizabeth Warren. His speech will be closely watched, and if there are fireworks here this week in Philly, they could come from his supporters protesting. They're upset after the WikiLeaks release of some 20,000 emails showing the party favored Clinton over Sanders. That led to the resignation of Debbie Wasserman Schultz as chairwoman of the DNC. Dave.
Tanya, there's been yet another attack in Germany. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, a Syrian asylum seeker blowing himself up outside an open-air music festival in the town of Ansbach, killing himself and injuring 12 others. Authorities now revealing the man had been due to be deported. They also say he'd been in trouble with police before. It was the 4th attack to shake Germany in a week, 3 of them carried out by recent immigrants. Dave?
Friday, there was a teenager who shot up a Munich shopping mall, killing 9 and then himself. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Mostly sunny skies this very early morning, 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. And the after effects of yesterday's storms, snarling Metra electric traffic this morning. Jim Telemonte will have the latest on that developing story for us in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center in just a moment. Severe storms did knock out power to thousands. About 24,000 do remain in the dark. NIPSCO in northwest Indiana tells us about 2,000 are without power in Munster and Porter this morning. Authorities are investigating after 2 women were killed in a rollover crash on Chicago's far south side. It happened, according to police, as the vehicle was driving along I-57, then slammed into a pole near 99th Street. The Illinois Supreme Court will review a constitutional amendment regarding changes to the political map-making process that was struck down by a Cook County judge. The amendment, which approved in the November election, would create an independent commission to draw legislative boundaries in the state, was deemed unconstitutional by that Cook County judge last week. Attorneys connected to House Speaker Mike Madigan are suing to try and keep that measure off the ballot. A Republican state representative is resigning from the Illinois House, citing cybersecurity issues. House Republican floor leader Ron Sandak of Downers Grove issued a statement Sunday saying he also is no longer willing to miss important family events. Cubs over the Brewers 6-5. Sox beat Detroit in a pair 4-3 and 5-4. And the Sox are punishing pitcher Chris Sale following the Jersey incident that caused him to miss a Saturday start.
Nothing that can't be, smoothed over. This is not the first one. So I think, for him, he has the ability to come back here and pitch and carry on.
White Sox GM Rick Hahn says Chris Sale is eligible to return for Thursday's game against the Cubs. The news, a service of 7-Eleven. Chill out this summer at 7-Eleven. When you get an ice-cold Big Gulp, you'll get a free one-day Redbox movie rental. This refreshing deal won't last long, only at 7-Eleven while supplies last. Subject to additional terms, charges apply for additional nights. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
At Lumber Liquidators, we're kicking off our summer stack-out sale with special deals at every store. Overstock floors, small lots, and more are priced to move. Get unheard-of clearance deals at select stores on 2,000 varieties of pre-finished hardwood from just 59 cents. Special buys like durable strand carbonized bamboo. It's just $169. North American and European laminate up to 20% off, with some deals from just 29 cents. And special financing. Visit LumberLiquidators.com to find a store near you and get to the summer stack-out sale today.
Thousands of people are choosing the flexibility of working when they want, driving with Uber. You'll control your day, plus be able to start earning right away just by driving your own car.
I've got 2 kids. They're both in summer camp, and I'll drop them off. Then I turn on the Uber app, the ride requests come in, and I'm earning extra money. Working when I want, being my own boss. Driving with Uber is definitely the best option for me.
Earn the extra money you need on your schedule. Get started today. Sign up right now. Go to uber.com/drive now. uber.com/drive now.
It's National Make-A-Will Month at LegalZoom.com, so it's time to take care of your will or trust. LegalZoom makes it easy. They're not a law firm, so there's no office visits or paying expensive hourly rates. Instead, you could save over $100 with LegalZoom's will or trust estate plan bundles. And if you don't know whether a will or trust is right for you, don't worry. You'll work with an independent attorney available in 48 states to get advice on what you need. Do the right thing this month at LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom.com.
6:06. Let's get an update on the roads now. Guardian Security Services Traffic Center time. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Michael. The CTA says all trains are on schedule now after the overnight disruptions were cleared, but Metro Electric train service has been halted near State Street on the Blue Island branch due to a tree obstructing the tracks. Passengers might want to consider the Rock Island line as an alternate. Chicago's north side, the intersection of Diversey, Western, and Elston is blocked. The down traffic signal. Edens is fine. Kennedy inbound, a little slow out of the River Road toll, but outbound. Stop and go to O'Hare. Peck on additional delays on westbound 190. about 34 minutes downtown.
It's just something we've all known.
An hour, 34 minutes.
I'm outraged. As a Democrat, I am outraged because the DNC is supposed to be a neutral arbiter.
In 25 minutes, 95th.
His political views are not my political views. He is more conservative than I am.
I'm grateful to you, Hillary, for the trust that you placed in me. Do you want a trash-talking president or a bridge-building president? So here's how Hillary and I are going to continue that work with a strong, progressive agenda.
Continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, there will be a tax to be paid. Less humid.
It's just
afternoon, high of 87. Tonight, clear and humid.
He is a progressive, a great fighter for progressive causes. He's a progressive.
67.
He is qualified to step into this job and lead on day one.
And Chicago.
Senator Tim Kaine. Tim also has a backbone of steel. Just ask the NRA. Tim also has a
financial planning with Jack Taboda, your 401k specialist. Heard Saturday mornings at 7 right here on
The choice
AM560.
of Tim Kaine
was you could say it's This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So the DNC kicks off today in Philly.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a great night. We got, do you want to do the starting lineup or do you want me to?
No, please.
And now we have different caucuses, the Black Caucus speaking, the Hispanic Caucus, that's during the day. And then the gavel is going to be slammed down, I think, by Debbie Wasserman Schultz, right? Gavel to gavel, she says. Then she's going to.
That's all. That's what she's been relegated to. She's not allowed to speak.
No,
she's under a gag order.
Yeah. So and then Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and then Michelle Obama. And I really hope that Michelle Obama does not plagiarize Melania tonight. I mean, I really hope that she studied her speech and make sure that she doesn't repeat anything that she said. I don't want to hear hope. I don't want to hear work hard. I don't want to say perseverance pays off. I don't want to hear any of that. And I especially don't want to hear any My Little Pony quotes either.
Yeah, well, you're going to hear a lot of tripe from Michelle Obama because that's what she traffics in. So get used to it. This is interesting.
What does she wear as her dress?
Just a little bit. I mean, just a little profile in Philadelphia. This is from the Enquirer, and we'll talk to John Baer, a friend who's a political columnist for the Enquirer, at the bottom of the hour. But from this piece, Philly's a great place for a party, but its Democrats are a disgrace. This is from the Philadelphia Enquirer. In just the past 3 years, Philadelphia Democrats have seen a congressman, Shaka.
Oh, Shakafata. Shakafata.
Shakafata, let me rock it, Shakafata. Let me rock
it. That's all I want to do. Shakafata.
A congressman.
Shakafata.
A state senator, 5 state reps, 8 city judges found guilty of corruption. That's in the past 3 years. That rivals Chicago's tallies.
Wait, I think they have us beat.
A former city sheriff also faces charges, and top election official has come under scrutiny for frequently failing to show up for work or, ironically, vote.
But now they're over the top. They've put themselves over the top of Chicago.
Well, this is why Philadelphia was selected over Chicago, is because they've put together the better record so that Hillary feels perfectly at home in Philadelphia. That's interesting.
Quick ancillary issue. We almost got the Republican convention here. Just so you know, we were a finalist. It was between us and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go on.
Just like it was between us and Rio for the 16 games. Here's something else. Philadelphia police. This is a real contrast. Whose side do you want to be on? You don't like Trump? You don't like Hillary? Whose side do you want to be on? Which side do you want to err upon? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. This letter that was issued by John McNesby, who's the president of Philadelphia FOP Lodge 5, quote, the membership of Philadelphia Lodge 5 FOP are shocked and saddened by the planned choice of speakers at the upcoming DNC in Philadelphia. The Fraternal Order of Police is insulted and will not soon forget that the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton are excluding the widows and other family members of police officers killed in line of duty who were victims of explicit and not implied racism, and, quote, being on duty in blue. It is sad that to win an election, Mrs. Clinton must pander to the interests of people who do not know all the facts, while the men and women they seek to destroy are outside protecting the political institutions of this country. Mrs. Clinton, you should be ashamed of yourself if that is possible.
Oh, yeah.
Zing. That's from the president of the FOP Lodge in Philly. That's, our version or their version of Dean Angelo Sr.
Right.
That
so they
is,
don't have anybody in the police community speaking at the DNC?
No, well, they got bumped for Trayvon Martin's mom.
Oh, you know who else is speaking? Michael Brown's mother is speaking. And that makes me sick because, again, Michael Brown strong-armed a store owner to get his cigars and then refused to listen to police and change the whole narrative of how this country is run by a lie and by not listening to police. And his mother is speaking, too.
Well, here's mothers of the movement. Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner. Sabrina Fulton, the mother of Trayvon Martin. Maria Hamilton, the mother of Dontre Hamilton. Lucia McBath, mother of Jordan Davis. Leslie McSpadden, mother of Michael Brown, as you mentioned. Cleopatra Pendleton. I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, right. To say, burn this effing place down.
Yeah, that guy.
Cleopatra Pendleton Cowley is the mother of Hadia Pendleton. Now that's a separate thing.
I know that's separate, but why put them all in the same group? That's what's wrong.
Obviously,
with
Hadia
that.
Pendleton shouldn't be in that group. Geneva Reed Veal, mother of Sandra Bland. So that's what elicited the reaction from the Philly FOP. Mrs. Clinton, you should be ashamed of yourself if that is possible. Police officers, police union here in Chicago, police officers elsewhere. You find that maybe in the past, because of the union backing machine Democrats in the city, you've been pulling the lever for the Democrat du jour at the local level, at the state level, at the national level. You want to continue doing that? You think that makes sense anymore? Police officers, law enforcement, anybody affiliated with law enforcement officers, your extended family? Does it make sense? Can you stomach, I don't care, what the pressure is from a particular political endorsement for a particular fungible Democrat hack lorded over this city for the last 100 years, produced a culture that we exported to Springfield and then exported to D.C. How's that culture working out for you? Police officers, love to hear from you. 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line. Do you agree with President John McNesby of the Philadelphia FOP? Randy in Crown Point, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, guys. As a veteran, I do have a certain level of pride for the uniform. However, and you knew the however was coming, I'm losing all sense of remorse, concern, or otherwise for anybody, including law enforcement, that is part of a union, simply because the steel workers, they've already endorsed Hillary. The coal miners of America, their union has already endorsed Hillary. FOPs all over the country have already endorsed Hillary. They're the blind leading the blind, and they get what they deserve because this is what their rank and file supports. And it's going to never change until they change. Because when you look at the steel workers, when you look at the coal miners, these men and the cops should be in the streets in proud protest to this lawless criminal that does not give a rip. And that's been the Democrats for years, guys. So how can I, as a solid conservative, ever have any remorse for these people? For they have made these beds, sleep in them.
Thanks for the call, Randy. Thanks for the call. Well, the only thing I'd say is sometimes there's a disconnect between the rank and file and the political leadership of a union. That is not an uncommon occurrence. The percentages vary in terms of the differences of opinion or political leanings between rank and file and the particular president of a union or leadership of a union. But I will say, ultimately, do you pay attention to the leadership of your union and what it's doing? And if you don't like it, do you speak up? Do you gather folks around and say, hey, you going off the you're going off the rails, I should say, putting, the union to which I affiliate on the endorsement ledger for Hillary Clinton, or, pick your politician of choice who's out there pandering to Black Lives Matter. and denigrating police officers, promulgating the narrative that police as an institution is systemically racist.
I know, and they're not racist. I mean, yeah, you might have a few bad cops, but I think it is grossly negligent and irresponsible for Hillary Clinton and the DNC to bring up some of those mothers whose sons have lost their lives, and in particular, Michael Brown. We're going to celebrate a thug criminal who just wants what he wanted and strong-arm somebody and grab that store owner by the neck and said, get out of my way, I'm going to take the stuff because I want it, and not listen to police, and he was stoned. I mean, come on. What are we celebrating here? What is wrong with the Democratic Party?
All kinds of things. Joe in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page that the media is going to do whatever it can to get Hillary elected. And, you know, if you think about it this way, if it was a Romney running or a McCain, all this stuff would have been brought to light because they just too chicken to take Hillary to task on this kind of stuff. Trump is the only one with the cojones, you love him or not, that can bypass the media and go right to the American public to bring this stuff to light.
Thanks for the call, Joe. I don't think it's a matter of cojones. I think they agree that they share the same ideological disposition. And one of the emails that came out in the WikiLeaks was what? A political reporter submitting his story to the DNC prior to publishing it. Now, the thing that stunned me about that is I didn't realize that these D.C. press corps reporters actually wrote the stories. I thought the DNC wrote the stories and then just rotated the bylines from different periodicals. That's how I thought it worked. So it was refreshing to me that these reporters actually write their own stories before they get approval from the mothership over at the DNC. Annie on the Northwest Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
You know, I just think it's really disgusting where we've come in a society that we're glorifying criminals and mothers who raise criminals and people who fight against the police and shoot police. It's disgusting. And I want to just say to all you never Trumpers who are upset about Trump, think about if you stay home, Hillary is going to put people on the Supreme Court, and this disgusting stuff is going to keep happening with these judges, and they're going to continue to change laws that support criminals, and it's disgusting. So people have to get out and vote. You cannot vote for Hillary. Sitting home is staying home for Hillary, and you're supporting what she stands for.
Thanks for the call, Annie. You think that's disgusting? You ready for this?
There's more? But wait, there's more. For just $1 more, you can get
2 words. Lena Dunham.
Oh, I can't stand her.
This is ghastly woman. Lena Dunham.
Oh no, what now? Did her sister touch her again, or what's? I don't even understand that whole thing.
This is what's the Girls or something?
Yeah, that show
on HBO.
Girls.
So Lena Dunham, by the way, a person of privilege. Kevin Williamson had a great profile piece on her a couple of years ago that I'm pulling from here. Here is a list of things in Lena Dunham's life that do not strike Lena Dunham as being unusual. Growing up in a $6.25 million Tribeca apartment, attending a selection of elite private schools, renting a home in Hollywood Hills well before having anything quite resembling a job and complaining that the home is insufficiently chic, the habitual education of the men in her family at Andover, the services of a string of foreign nannies, being referred to a homework therapist when she refused to do her homework, being referred to a relationship therapist when she fought with her mother, constant visits to homeopathic doctors, and visits to child psychologists 3 times a week, having a summer home on the lake in Connecticut and complaining about it, writing that she's the voice of a generation and her alter ego on that show Girls. This is Lena Dunham. So when she appears on the dais at the DNC...
I didn't know she came from money.
Oh, yeah.
She's speaking at the DNC?
Her parents are these kind of equally excessive, self-indulgent radicals, but they come from old money. So, yeah, to checking your privilege, remember that. Here's a little excerpt from her memoir, Not That Kind of Girl. Durham wrote of, quote, I'm sorry, this is early in the morning, but I want you to know, Dunham, excuse me, I want you to know who Lena Dunham is. Quote, Dunham wrote of, quote, casually masturbating while in bed next to her younger sister.
Oh, that's what she did. Okay.
Of bribing her with 3 pieces of candy if I could kiss her on the lips for 5 seconds.
Gross.
This is her writing. Anything a sexual predator might do to woo a small suburban girl, I was trying. At one point, when her sister is a toddler, Lena Dunham pries open her female part.
What?
Quote, my curiosity got the best of me, she writes. In the same memoir, Dunham claimed to have been raped by a mysterious quote-unquote Republican on campus, whom she has refused to name, which has led
Republican?
Yeah,
because there's just so many Republicans running around campus.
He was wearing his,
the GOP pin. Was he dressed as an elephant?
No, he was wearing his young Republican pin. I'm sure in the kind of the fantasy that she created.
She even know?
This is one
That's
of
sick.
This is a DNC speaker, one of Hollywood's elites. FYI. So I asked the question
I knew
again.
There was something with her sister, but I didn't know the details. Thanks, Dan.
Do you want to be on the side of the speakers you heard at the RNC, the parents who have lost a child to violent crime by persons who are here illegally, of Sheriff David Clark, of Marcus Luttrell, lone survivor? Do you want to be on that side of the ledger, even if you don't like the candidate at the top of the pyramid? Or do you want to be on the ledger with the kind of the cop-hating, I don't even know how to describe Lena Dunham. Do you want to be on the Lena Dunham cop-hating side, or do you want to be on the other side? That's your choice in November.
Lucky she's not in jail.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up next, your phone calls, and you'll hear from some police officers. 312-642-5600 is the number. And the number in the weather department is going to be pretty warm today, pretty high. 88 degrees under mostly sunny skies. Tonight, clear. And tomorrow, plenty of sunshine. No rain in the forecast, a high of 89. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Even after those storms, Chicago traffic almost sounds somewhat normal after that list of descriptions there. Right now, we do have a big problem on Metra's electric line on the Blue Island branch, though. Trains aren't getting past Downtree near State Street, so passengers are advised to consider the Rock Island line. The Blue Island Vermont Street station is a somewhat convenient alternate. CTA trains are all back on schedule after the overnight disruptions. Northwest side, the intersection of Diversey, Western, and Nelson still shut down. The down traffic signal and wires across that intersection. Inbound Eden's just a little heavy approaching the junction. The Kennedy, 27 minutes, so here to downtown. Outbound, it's 40. And there are additional delays on westbound 190. The Eisenhower, 40 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 31. Stevenson, 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Tri-States, though, Dixie Highway to Holstead after an earlier car fire. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
If you're looking to improve your child's academic education and attitude toward life, Christian Liberty Academy, based in Arlington Heights, has provided thousands of children in preschool through 12th grade with a superior, accredited, and affordable Christian education since 1968. The Academy offers a spacious and well-equipped campus, dynamic math and computer classes, art and music instruction, as well as comprehensive sports programs and after-school care services. The teaching staff at Christian Liberty is comprised of people who take a genuine and personal interest in each of their students and make it a point to give them the individualized attention that they need. Call the Academy at 847-385-2013 to schedule a tour or visit ChristianLibertyAcademy.com. That's ChristianLibertyAcademy.com. Don't let another week go by before you get serious about finding the proper school environment for each of your children. The summer is slipping away and registrations are filling up fast in many grades. So contact Christian Liberty Academy today and give your children a great foundation for learning and for life.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance, but they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So the Philly FOP not happy about the DNC speakers lineup, and anybody with good taste also not happy. Try and avoid Lena Dunham if you can. Mike in Oak Lawn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, I'm a suburban police officer, and most of the guys I know, I'm talking 90%, vote Republican, always vote Republican, and would never even consider Hillary Clinton as an option.
Good.
We all love Sheriff Clark. We support him and endorse him, and we love him standing up for us. So your challenge, I think, is mostly to bigger city police departments.
Yeah, I understand. No, I understand. But that's where the challenge belongs. I mean, like this Philly FOP president, okay, Mrs. Clinton, you should be ashamed of yourself if that's possible. Well, how about translating that into action? That's kind of what I'd like to see in the urban centers, because if the Dems lose the urban centers, then they lose everything.
No, I agree. But even most of the Chicago police officers that I know don't vote for Democrats, and they don't care what the union tells them. They would never consider voting for people who despise us and are against us. And we fully see that and clearly see that the Democratic Party abhors police officers.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm glad that's seen. And thanks for the call, Mike. Appreciate it. Greg in Schaumburg.
How you doing?
Hey, Greg.
I was just calling to let you know, like the last guy was just saying, I'm a suburban officer too. 90% of us vote Republican, and where I work at, a teasing joke is if you vote Democrat, we tease you for it, and even accuse you of it. That's bad enough. But there's something I want to say, though, Dan. Didn't you help like a suburban mayor who was a Republican get elected? What happened to that guy? Remember him?
Which one? Anthony DeLuca?
Yeah, what happened to him? Remember him?
He became a Democrat state rep.
Exactly. So you can't determine just like we can't determine what union dues where they go. You can't determine people you help where they go.
Well, I understand, but
why did he change?
But I recognize when somebody sells his soul for 30 pieces of silver, and I disavow him. I mean, so you see the difference. I helped somebody I thought was going to do something, and he did something else. So then I stopped helping him. But at least he was essentially identifying as a Republican at the time. The fact that he became a turncoat, I concede the point. He became a turncoat. And I misjudged the situation, but at least I was directionally right. I wasn't falling in line behind kind of the big city machine in places like Chicago. So that's a little bit different. But I own the misjudgments I make too, Greg. I appreciate the call.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
On AM 560, The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
Hey, looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing mortgage? then you should call David Hochberg over at Pearl Mortgage. Kim wrote, I listen to you all the time on the radio and hope you can help my 80-year-old mother refinance her Des Plaines condo. She owes $170,000. Her rate is over 6%. Credit is good, and she receives Social Security, and the monthly payments are killing her. My mom would like to refinance, but she's not working, and her condo isn't FHA approved, so she can't do a reverse mortgage. I hope you can help my mom lower her payments. Well, David is working with Kim and her mother to refinance into a lower rate and substantially reduce her monthly payments. So if you'd like to see if David can help reduce the rate of your loan or one of your family members' loans, then call him now, 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David has helped me and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Is Philly ready to feel the burn? We'll ask John Baer, political columnist for The Inquirer, at 6:36.
And what to wear? Chris Sales just rips it off his body, and now he's paying a hefty price. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
74 degrees outside, sunshine. Police say 3 are in custody after at least 2 died, as many as 17 hurt. Shot at a nightclub in Fort Myers, Florida. There are 2 active crime scenes at what's being called Club Blue, but police captains say the area is now safe. The Democratic National Convention begins today in Philadelphia. Hillary Clinton set to formally accept her party's presidential nomination Thursday. Clinton and Virginia Senator Tim Kaine off and running at a rally in Miami.
The person that I just can't think of anybody better to have by my side on the campaign trail in the White House.
Clinton saying Tim Kaine is qualified to lead as vice president on day one. Questions from within the Democratic Party about Bernie Sanders' Jewish faith were not shocking to the Vermont senator.
There's no question to my mind, and I think no question to any objective observer's mind, that the DNC was supporting Hillary Clinton, was in opposition to our campaign.
Sanders on CNN's State of the Union reacting to leaked emails. Spokesperson for Hillary Clinton says Russia was behind the hacking of the emails that led to the resignation of Debbie Wasserman Schultz as chair of the Democratic National Committee. Storms knock out power to thousands, snarl public transit in the Chicago area still this morning. Authorities are investigating after 2 women were killed in a rollover crash on Chicago's far south side. And the Illinois Supreme Court is going to review a constitutional amendment regarding changes to the political map-making process struck down in a Cook County court. Sox took a pair from the Tigers while the Cubs beat Milwaukee. The news, a service of Burger King grilled dogs. Where are you going to get that delicious grilled hot dog? Your backyard? Nope. Burger King. Burger King grilled dogs made with 100% beef, flame grilled to perfection. Pick up a grilled dog today at participating Burger King restaurants. Flame grilling hot dogs since 2016. 6:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Here Maps, the free app that helps you beat the jam with live traffic info and public transit schedules. Get it now at here.com/commute.
Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. You know, hormone balance is a big deal. If your hormones are out of whack, it can account for so many health challenges like low energy and fatigue, spaced out memory, low sex drive, otherwise known as the dead in bed syndrome. Nothing excites you anymore with you watching more and more TV every night, misusing food or alcohol, and then there's the hair loss that you thought was age appropriate, and then the weight gain. Let me tell you about our specially priced dirt cheap hormone test. No blood, just saliva. Interesting that with over 33 years in private practice, I've never seen normal hormone test results in the first go around, and that's why you need to have us help you balance your hormones once and for all. So call our HealthQuest radio hotline at 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. No blood, just spit. Call 800-794-1855. Oh, and be sure to listen to HealthQuest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11. But for now, call 800-794-1855.
6:36 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Just west of Douglas Park on Chicago's west side, there are closures, including Douglas Boulevard and Sawyer. This is due to police activity in that area. North Side, Diversey, Western, and Elston. The intersection shut down with a down traffic signal and wires there. Eden's inbound slow, Toohey to the junction. 31 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, southbound 19. Kennedy, 28 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 52 minutes. Tack on additional delays on westbound 190. Eisenhower, 47 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, southbound 33. Stevenson, 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown, northbound Tri-State. Stop and go from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Traffic as a service of 7-Eleven. Chill out this summer at 7-Eleven. You get an ice-cold Big Gulp. Look at a free one-day Redbox movie rental. This refreshing deal won't last long, and it's only at 7-Eleven. While supplies last, subject to additional terms, charges apply for additional nights. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Sunny, warm, less humid this afternoon. High 88, clear and 67 overnight. A little more humid tomorrow with a high of 89. 74 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
It's Feldco's biggest sale of the year. Get $1 installation on all windows, siding, and doors.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So the DNC starts today, and boy, before the convention even starts, they've already lost their chairman. DWS is going to quietly preside and then shuffle off into, I guess, a senior role with the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Yeah, and it's so weird. It's been percolating all, since Friday, since those 20,000 emails were released by WikiLeaks. Conversations between Debbie Wasserman Schultz and other people in the party talking about Bernie Sanders, and he isn't going to be president, they wrote in one of the emails. But
that was among the least offensive things they said, questioning his faith.
Yeah, his religion, saying, I think he's an atheist, and that will help us by several points.
Well,
but then on Saturday, she was there for the rollout of the dynamic duo, Clinton and Kaine. She was there, and she said, I'm with her, and she got the whole crowd to cheer, I'm with her, and it was, and then the next day, she gone.
Those were called the death throes. The other thing, just coming out of last week's RNC, did Trump get a bounce? The answer is he did. There's a raft of new polls out over the weekend. CNN poll that had him down 7 now has him up 4. That's like the biggest.
That was just released about an hour ago.
Yeah, that's the biggest bump I've seen. But in the battleground states, he's taken a very slight lead where he was slightly behind prior to the convention. So he did get a bump, and we'll see if that can be sustained when Democrats have their turn this week. And for more on what will be forthcoming in Philly, we're now joined by our friend John Baer, political columnist at the Philadelphia Inquirer and the Bear, B-A-E-R, Bear Growls blog. You see what he did there? John, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning. So Philadelphia is located in Pennsylvania, which I think you're probably aware. And that turns out to be a battleground state at this point. But we've seen this before where Pennsylvania is close for a while and then ultimately Democrats pull away, or the Democrat presidential candidate pulls away. This has happened repeatedly over the last half a dozen cycles or so. And I wonder if you think this year might be different.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, Dan. There's, as you say, every time we go through a cycle, Pennsylvania is always said to be in play, and then it never is. But, I mean, this year there really does seem to be a fervor throughout the state. Once you get outside of the southeast, Philadelphia and its collar counties, heavily Democratic, heavy turnouts in presidential years. That's always been the stopgap in the past. The difference this year is the sort of quasi-enthusiasm across the board for Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, and whether or not that taps down the turnouts and opens the door for Republicans. That, of course, remains to be seen. Every election, it always comes down to who votes.
So tonight, Bernie Sanders is going to be speaking. Do you think we're going to have a Ted Cruz moment here, considering what's happened with the emails?
Well, probably a Ted Cruz moment in reverse. I mean, I think Bernie's going to be warmly welcomed. Not only does he have an awful lot of supporters within the delegation as normal, but this insult to injury thing that just occurred is just going to juice them up even more. So I expect him to get a very warm welcome. I expect him to be a classy guy and still support Hillary, but he's going to be beloved, I think, tonight down at Wells Fargo.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see just how much control, if you will, Bernie Sanders has over the Field of Burners, because there's a lot of Field of Burners that are never Hillary's, and they can still respect Bernie and see what he's doing and being the kind of the class act party guy, team player, but say, love you, Bernie, but I'm not on board for that. And it's still early, but some of the surveys have suggested that as many as 1 in 5 Bernie supporters are not going to be with Hillary, and that has the likelihood to grow after the email leaks this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's right, Dan. But the thing to remember is you've got this strange year in which these conventions are now looking like bookends. I mean, the WikiLeaks Field of Burn thing is almost like a counterpart to the Never Trump movement, which at the beginning of the Republican controversy, but by the end of the week was virtually gone. I wouldn't be surprised if the exact same thing happens here. Maybe not totally, maybe not as complete, but I think you'll see, look, you've got coming up in the next couple of days 2 of the best orators in American political history. Former President Clinton and current President Barack Obama are going to be really charging up these Democrats in exchange for Hillary. And just like Trump got a bump out of his, I expect Hillary gets a bump out of hers.
But Bernie Sanders supporters, I mean, we even had a protest yesterday in Chicago, and Bernie Sanders supporters showed up with their Field of Burn signs. I mean, they're not going away. They're angry about this, and I feel they are re-energized because of this email scandal. So you don't think there's going to be a fight on the floor?
I'd be surprised if there's a fight on the floor. It certainly could happen. As you suggest, there's a lot more enthusiasm for Bernie than there was for Never Trump, just in the pure numbers. So there could be a little bit, but I still got to think, look, I mean, the one email that was right is he's not going to be president. He's still not going to be president. So Democrats have a choice. They can either sit it out, go with the Libertarian or the Green Party, or stick with Hillary.
And there was an effort over the weekend to reform the superdelegate process, which made Hillary the nominee from the get-go. I mean, it just was the numbers just were really not possible for Bernie because of the superdelegates. But that reform didn't come to pass in the way that Bernie supporters had hoped. So perhaps more grist for the mill.
Yeah, and I think that was the canary in the mine, just kind of letting you know the direction of the convention. If you're not going to get that, you're not going to get much else.
So just some reactions to the DNC speaker lineup. You mentioned a couple of former presidents. The lineup that's attracting the most attention, at least locally, is speeches forthcoming from moms of persons that have been killed by police and in controversial situations. So, for example, like Michael Brown's mom in Ferguson.
Yeah.
And the FOP Lodge 5 president, John McNesby, wrote a letter to Hillary Clinton that's been circulated expressing dismay, shocked and saddened. He described membership of Lodge 5 FOP in Philly, and offering a pretty strong rebuke at the end. Mrs. Clinton, you should be ashamed of yourself if that is possible. How much impact do you think that will have kind of locally and also thinking about it nationally, that narrative and that divide, kind of you're either with law enforcement and you're standing on their side of the skirmish line, or you're with kind of the Black Lives Matter agitators?
Yeah, Dan, that's one of those issues that is just not going to change. So for the Democrats, that's a play to the base, and for Republicans, it's more red meat. And both sides are a little bit fringy on that. That's not going to change either. This election is the hard numbers in this election aren't going to move, no matter who speaks, no matter what they say. There's still going to be a certain percentage that's with Hillary, no matter what, a certain percentage that's with Trump, no matter what. And then going forward, either side's got to find a way to pick up enough to outpoll the other one, outvote the other one. So, yeah, look, it's a nasty issue. It really does rage emotions, but I don't think it's going to matter in the end. It's just going to solidify people on both sides.
So Donald Trump, during the week-long convention or 4-day convention, couldn't help himself and showed up Monday night, appeared on the Jumbotron on Tuesday, showed up on Wednesday. Is Hillary Clinton planning any surprise appearances?
Not that we're aware of. And, she's a lot more cautious, a lot more disciplined, a lot more, establishment, which is part of her problem, frankly. But I'd be surprised if we see any surprise show up.
And Chelsea's going to be introducing her on Thursday night, correct?
That's the plan, just like Ivanka did for her father.
And Ivanka and Chelsea are friends.
We talked to Sheriff Clark last week, Milwaukee County Sheriff Clark, and he was talking about the police presence and the logistics and planning that went into Cleveland and how well that came off. And he pointed out that one difference between Cleveland and Philly is in Philly, in terms of the civilian leadership, in Philly, as contrasted to Cleveland, you don't have to apply for a permit to have a rally or a protest. And he said, that could potentially create more complications for law enforcement than occurred in Cleveland. Is there any sense of how concerned people are about unrest in Philly?
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the case, Dan. I mean, there has been a lot of reporting prior to this about people who had applied for permits to march and to protest in Philadelphia.
Okay.
You just can't run a city the size of Philadelphia, which is, as you know, a lot larger than Cleveland, without having some control over the crowds.
All right. He is John Baer. He's a political columnist at the Philadelphia Inquirer. Baer Growls, Baer, Growls blog. John, thanks always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan and Amy, have a good one.
You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, White Sox pitcher Chris Sale could not stand what he's wearing, and now he's out of the game for a while. We'll explain. Actually, Dan's going to do a reenactment of how Chris ripped off his clothes. But first, here's your forecast. Today, plenty of sunshine, less humid by this afternoon, a high of 88 degrees. Tonight, clear. Into the 60s we go. And tomorrow, plenty of sunshine and the humidity returns, a high near 90. Jim Telemonte, I hope what you're wearing today.
No complaints. Just trying to stay cool, Amy. And it's not easy on the roads. All kinds of problems after the storm damage in Wadsworth. Dilly's is blocked off between Orchard Bluff and Mill Creek with down power lines. North side of Chicago, the intersection of Diversey, Western, and Elston is closed. The down signal and wires. West side, around Douglas and 13th, there are closures with police activity. Metro Electric line trains are running again on the Blue Island branch after crews removed a tree from the tracks. Eden's 31 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. Kennedy, 33 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 55. The Eisenhower, 47 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 38. Stevenson, 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. Bryan is 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Reagan Tollway now slow, Farnsworth to Eola, and Roosevelt to the Tri-State. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs. Democrats feel the burn in Philly over room rates. Southwest Airlines hopes last week's computer crash is finally behind it. Those stories next.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. What if you could store your IRA or 401k where you can see, touch, and hold it in person in the form of physical gold and silver coins? I know I would, and you can't do that with stocks. With the Augusta Gold and Silver IRA, you can transfer retirement savings into physical coins and store them where you can actually see them. Free shipping, zero management fees, and Augusta pays all upfront costs. Getting started is absolutely free. Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau, enjoys a 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993 now for your free guide to Augusta Gold IRAs. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993. That's 1-855-222-6993 or visit AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
With last week's Republican convention now part of history, today it's the Democrats' turn as they gather for their national convention in Philadelphia. But some delegates are squeezing up to 5 in a room as they try to cope with hotel bills running into thousands of dollars. By law, Philadelphia room rates are allowed to rise as occupancy tightens. Over the weekend, Southwest Airlines was still struggling to get back to normal after a major computer systems crash last Wednesday. Passengers endured delayed or canceled flights, and even as most flights resumed normal schedules, some pilots, crew, and planes grounded during the outage still were trying to get in place for a normal week starting today. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. I'm Keith Peters for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, I want to tell you about my friends at Guardian Security Services. Because here's the deal. If you're unhappy with your door staff or on-site security officers at your business or property, or you're just not receiving the services you were promised, there's no reason to tolerate it. Call my friends right now at Guardian Security Services to discuss your security officer needs. These guys are amazing. They've been Chicago's best for 41 years. They only assign the most professional, highly trained security officers in all of Chicagoland. Their vetting practices are exceptional. If you're finally ready to explore an alternative to your current security officer provider, then doggone it, do it. Pick up the phone right now and schedule a free security assessment with my friends at Guardian Security Services. Tell them me, Joe Walsh, sent you. Right now, call 708-385-3300. Again, 708-385-3300 or online at guardiansecurityinc.com.
No one likes being stuck in traffic. It's the same gut-wrenching feeling you have when you're stuck with your company's health insurance plan. Like most employees, you worry about paying too much for health benefits and prescriptions. Unfortunately, you probably are. But the good news is you don't have to. I'm Jim Lorenz from Clear Insight, and I have helpful solutions to lower your costs and improve your employee benefit package. Don't change the prescription drug, change where you buy it. I will give you a tool that will provide the cost of your drugs at the pharmacies near you. You'll seek out a gas station just to save 10 cents a gallon. So why don't you do the same with your health insurance and prescription drug benefits that could save you hundreds? I apply the same concepts to your health benefits. With plan design and simple technology, we're able to grant the rewards that help keep that copay in your pocket. As someone who's been in the health industry for over 25 years, I know firsthand that one-size benefits do not fit all. Talk to your HR person or manager. Tell them to visit clearinsightbenefits.com. See how we can return benefits to your employee benefits package.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah, there it is.
Na, na, na. Hey, hey,
Yeah,
Chris.
you don't get to sing that
Goodbye.
as
Why?
a Cubs fan, please.
What, well, so your guy's making headlines all over the country here with his little tantrum because he didn't like the outfit. It's too binding.
Yeah.
I can't pitch with this clothes on. So what was it? What, 76 throwback jersey from the White Sox? And Chris Sale didn't want to wear
he
it?
didn't like. Look, if it was good enough for Kevin Hickey, it's good enough for Chris Sale. Didn't like the pajamas, and I understand in the butterfly collars. I actually like those uniforms, but he found them too restrictive because he's a funky left-hander, and threw a little bit of a tantrum. Had a little bit of a snit on Saturday, and there it is. Got scratched after he tore the uniform, and 5-day suspension back in time for Thursday's game against the Cubs. Of course, the Crosstown I got it. You ripped the uniform. Crosstown Classic starts tonight. I will be going to Comiskey Park for games 1 and 2.
I thought you gave your tickets to Jeff Reisman for his son's graduation. You didn't do that?
You're the suck-up, not me. You see, that's how you can distinguish us.
Okay.
So, no, I will be attending.
Okay, so I'm going to attend Thursday's game at Wrigley when Chris Sale pitches.
Right.
But I hope
when the Sox will be going for the sweep to help the Cardinals move within probably 3 to 2.5 games of the Cubs. It's all starting to come apart, and it's not even August yet.
Oh, my gosh. And how are you guys doing? Are you above 500?
We're 8.5 back, 2 games under.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're still
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. I understand this nod to nostalgia with wanting to bring back those really criminally ugly uniforms, even for an afternoon. But, why not the full nod to nostalgia? Why not look up some of the beauties who took showers in the center field back in the 70s and bring them all back and put them in their bikinis now and have them do the shower in the center field? Or why not Bill Veeck hollow leg beer night, and have
I'd like that. Yeah, that would be a nice tribute to Veeck, actually. And how about a tribute to the Legoo father-son team, and they go shirtless?
Yeah, but you got to grow the mustache first and a mullet.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm sure you could do that.
Baseball needs all the help it can, but I'm not sure it needs those uniforms again, even for a day.
Thanks for the call, Ralph.
Well, Chris Sale is not going to be putting that on anytime soon.
He'll be putting it on Thursday, actually.
Well, not the
not
76.
Well,
not the retro uniform. That's a problem. I mean, if it's binding, you can't do your job, so does he have a point?
You know what the problem is for the Cubs is that if they were going to wear the throwback uniforms when they won something, they'd have to go back to 1908.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you suffer sinus congestion, trouble breathing through your nose, which gets worse when you lie down, facial pain, and sinus infections, antibiotics, nasal sprays, and steroids can only do so much. I'm Dr. Robert Deitch, and excited to tell you that recent advances in our field have opened exciting new doors. We're leading experts in a newer procedure called balloon sinus dilation that gently expands your natural sinus openings to fix underlying drainage problems. It takes 15 minutes and is performed in our office. Balloon sinus dilation is minimally invasive using local anesthesia and best of all delivers immediate and long-lasting relief. We're board-certified ENT specialists who can help you avoid expensive hospital visits and long recovery times.
For immediate and long-lasting relief from your sinus problems, call ENT Associates today at 847-882-5888 or visit nosinusproblems.com. That's ENT Associates at 847-882-5888 or online at nosinusproblems.com.
Hey, the rootin' tootin' timeless fun of the Old West is waiting for you and the kids at Donley's Wild West Town in nearby Union, Illinois. It's a perfect day out for families and children ages 3 to 11. All rides and attractions are included in one low admission price. Pony rides, the runaway mine car roller coaster. I love that. Panning for Gold, a canoe ride, a Wild West stunt show that's awesome. And just there's so many hands-on activities that await you and the kids. So go to 560theanswer.com/wild for your discount coupons. Wild West Town is a perfect place for your child's birthday party, too. And grandparents, this is a great day out for you and the grandkids. You won't believe how much fun you'll have. Grandparents, you can receive free admission on Mondays and Tuesdays with a coupon from 560theanswer.com/wild. Donley's Wild West Town, good old-fashioned family fun. Hee-haw!
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The emails are released that put some people in the crosshairs and in the crucible, not reserved for DWS. Governor Rauner email criticizing CPS teachers and principals leads to an apology. Should the governor have apologized? We'll tackle that question at 7:07.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here once again is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, the latest from Fox on the shooting this morning in Florida that has claimed the life of 2 teenagers. Storms caused heavy damage in Chicago and the suburbs. Power remains knocked out to some. Canopy knocked over onto the CTA Blue Line tracks because of the heavy storms. And the Cubs clipped the Brewers in the rubber match of their series. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. A night of clubbing ends in a flurry of shooting.
Automatic gunfire in Club Blue. 30-40 shot shootout.
That's the police audio from Broadcastify in Fort Myers, Florida. After midnight, Fox's Evan Brown has the details live from Miami.
Dave, at least 2 are dead, and police in Fort Myers say the scene is secure. But 3 subjects have been detained for questioning. It was teen night at Club Blue, but the shots were fired outside. Still, parents like Cyrita Gary ran to find their kids.
I just thank God that my daughter is okay because she could have been shot. Her dodging bullets and running, dropping between cars. It's ridiculous that these kids have to go through this. They can't enjoy themselves.
Another witness tells news crews on the scene shots were fired by someone inside a black Honda SUV, Dave.
Evan, the Democrats start their convention today as Hillary Clinton tells CBS 60 Minutes she's held to a different standard, being attacked and lied about by Republicans.
I don't get upset about them anymore, but they are very regrettable.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers live in Philadelphia.
Well, the convention is getting off to a bumpy start following WikiLeaks publishing of some 20,000 emails, which suggest the DNC played favorites for Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders during the primary. His supporters are not happy, and they're showing it, too. Tens of thousands of protesters are expected to demonstrate each day. One of the largest rallies planned today involves a pro-Bernie Sanders group that's expected to walk across the Ben Franklin Bridge that connects New Jersey with Philadelphia. Sanders is set to speak tonight, along with two senators, Cory Booker and Elizabeth Warren, as well as First Lady Michelle Obama. Dave.
Tanya, CNN ORC poll just out gives Donald Trump a post-convention bounce. He leads Hillary Clinton 48 to 45% with an edge among independents. Strong winds have whipped a wildfire back up in Southern California, sending thousands of evacuees who were ready to go back home fleeing again. Flames have burned down 18 homes. One person's dead. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sunshine, 74 degrees. 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Severe storms knocked out power to thousands, snarling public transit overnight, delaying some flights this morning at Midway and O'Hare. CTA says service along parts of 3 train lines were temporarily suspended. Spokesman says a pedestrian canopy was damaged and blown over by rain, wind, or lightning, or a combination of the two, caused a major obstruction along the Blue Line.
Stuff started falling. Boom, boom, boom. That lightning hit, and I think the lightning was what did it all.
ComEd reports early this morning about 24,000 customers remain without power in and around Cook County, while NIPSCO in northwest Indiana said about 2,000 remained in the dark in Munster and Porter. Authorities are searching for the person who shot and killed a teen in Calumet City. Happened on Saturday, where police found 17-year-old Jason Griffin wounded in the 600 block of Hirsch. He lived in the same block where the shooting happened. He was pronounced dead later at the scene. Chicago Public School officials say testing has found high levels of lead in the water at 99 of the district's schools. All of the schools had at least one sink or water fountain that had water with more lead than federal mandates. A Republican state representative resigning from the Illinois House, citing cybersecurity issues. Republican floor leader Ron Sandak of Downers Grove issued that statement over the weekend, saying he began to reevaluate his role and also says he's no longer willing to miss important family events. Cubs over Milwaukee 6-5. Sox took 2 from the Tigers, 4-3 and 5-4, while Chris Sale remains suspended. The news, a service of CiCi's Pizza. Can you believe it? CiCi's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas. Original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuffed. Try them all and your other CiCi's favorites for $5 and change. The CiCi's buffet just got better. Believe it. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with the 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
Thousands of people are choosing the flexibility of working when they want, driving with Uber. You'll control your day, plus be able to start earning right away just by driving your own car.
I've got 2 kids. They're both in summer camp, and I'll drop them off. Then I turn on the Uber app, the ride requests come in, and I'm earning extra money. Working when I want, being my own boss. Driving with Uber is definitely the best option for me.
Earn the extra money you need on your schedule. Get started today. Sign up right now. Go to uber.com/drive now. uber.com/drive now.
It's National Make-A-Will Month at LegalZoom.com, so it's time to take care of your will or trust. LegalZoom makes it easy. They're not a law firm, so there's no office visits or paying expensive hourly rates. Instead, you could save over $100 with LegalZoom's will or trust estate plan bundles. And if you don't know whether a will or trust is right for you, don't worry. You'll work with an independent attorney available in 48 states to get advice on what you need. Do the right thing this month at LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom.com.
7:06. Time to check the climate of your business with AirComfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. In our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On Chicago's west side, Douglas Boulevard is closed from Kedzie west to Sawyer Avenue. Police are there at the scene of what is being reported now as a police-involved shooting. There is also a closure of Sawyer from Douglas north to 13th. North side, Diversey, Western, and Elston. That intersection shut down with a down traffic signal and wires. In Wadsworth, Dilly's is closed. Orchard Bluff to Mill Creek Road, down power lines. The Edens is 29 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 22. The Kennedy, 33 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 55. Eisenhower, 48 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 38. Stevenson, 50 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 41. Ryan, 27 minutes at 95th to downtown. Tri-State northbound, really heavy I-80, the 163rd Street toll with a crash in the left lane. And from 95th up to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A mostly sunny day today with a high 87 and a clear night, low 67. Full day of sunshine tomorrow, high 89 and a clear night, low 67. Clouds and sun Wednesday, high 88. Thunderstorm late at night, low 69. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
74 at O'Hare. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
His political views are not my political views. He is more conservative than I am.
Growth of ISIS occurred as a direct result of the policies that he and Secretary Clinton established when they took office in 2009. The world's an unsafe place today because of his failed leadership, not because of anything Donald Trump has done.
I'm grateful to you, Hillary, for the trust that you've placed in me.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So while we were in Cleveland last week, a little brouhaha erupted here over emails that were disclosed. These emails not hacked and disclosed through WikiLeaks.
These ones were through the Russians?
No, not through the Russians. No Russian involvement. These emails released by the Emanuel administration per a court order. And one of the emails contained a review of CPS by then private citizen Bruce Rauner, who said, in a massive bureaucracy with a hostile union where 50% of principals are managerially incompetent and half the teachers are virtually illiterate, a complex multidimensional evaluation system with huge subjectivity in it will be attacked, manipulated, and marginalized. The status quo will prevail. And, of course, the comment about half of CPS teachers being virtually illiterate and 50% of CPS principals managerially incompetent created a firestorm. Unions and principals responding, in fact, showing up to a bill signing on Friday and disrupting it with a read-in, quote unquote, to prove
that they can read.
Yeah, it was bizarre, but okay. And
was this your first read-in?
I was not.
But I've never been to a read-in. So
I was not there.
I want to hear about it.
The disruptions.
You've harmed education, destroyed this great state. It's contrary. Your remarks are inflammatory and Trump-like.
You have undermined the schools and social services Chicago and downstate Illinois for the entirety of your tenure. And our state infrastructure is being put at risk.
Here is Rauner's apology for the statement contained in the email.
I apologize. The remark I made in that email 5 years ago was both inaccurate and intemperate. and I apologize. I am a strong advocate for teachers, always have been, always will be.
And
I don't think they're going to see it like that.
well, you were prescient because the apology not accepted.
In front of the media and say, oh, I'm sorry. What are you sorry for? Are you sorry because the emails came out? No, I don't accept an apology. I want to see real change.
In order for me to accept his apology, I want to see him actually make some changes, some actions that are going to help our community.
Should Ronner have apologized? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. When those teachers say they want real change, what real change do they want?
Changes in their salary.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
For
I think
them to continue paying the level that they are for their pensions.
I'd like to plumb the depths of the real change they want. That wouldn't be change. That would be a continuation of the state of affairs, current state of affairs.
One teacher who I spoke with on Friday, they're outraged by this. They think, here we're racist Republicans, saying that we can't read. Oh, because, a lot of the principals are African Americans. So, of course, the left turns this into a racial issue.
My brother.
And not happy. This does not help with Bruce Ronner if he wants to be, or Governor Ronner, excuse me. If he wants to get elected, it just adds fuel to the fire. Because they're already angry at him because they think, a lot of teachers are losing their jobs, which some already have for next year because of budget cuts, and they're just going to pile on Governor Ronner. I think it's fine. I think he did owe them an apology, so I'm not, and I accept his apology. But what he's saying though is there's some truth to it, Dan. I mean, I was a CPS, I was a substitute teacher, and I've had a lot of correspondence with different principals in different sections of the city, and illiterate is putting it nicely. Incomplete sentences, improper use of pronouns. I mean, it goes on, and it's embarrassing because when you receive these, and one email I shared it with Marcus Brown too, from a teacher from a while ago. Marcus couldn't even. That's our program director. He looked at me and said, "Is this even in English?"
So here's the thing. This email back from 2011, Ronner was heading up an organization he started and largely funded called Stand for Children, trying to get education reform. One of the education reforms they got, and this, frankly, was a bit of naivete on behalf of Ronner, mostly a Democrat. This was largely led by Democrats, by the way, funded by Democrats, have been completely co-opted by Democrats now, and it achieved nothing. Achieved nothing, partly because of the naivete of people with more money than political understanding. Including Bruce Ronner at the time. They thought, we're going to raise the threshold to 75% in order for CPS to strike, and then we'll never have another CPS strike again. 75% of the union vote. And then, of course, about a year later, you had CPS go on strike. So a complete misunderstanding of who controls the Chicago public school system and the level of that control, the totality of that control. And I think part of what you saw in that email, you read in that email, was his frustration realizing just how intransigent the union in Chicago is, the Chicago Teachers Union, and frankly how weak CPS management is and how weak the mayor is. And this is somebody, Bruce Ronner and Diana Ronner, his wife, who have invested tens of millions of dollars in K through 12 education, both in terms of charter schools as well as supporting Rahm Emanuel's principal bonus fund. He put $1 million into Rahm's principal bonus fund.
So they could go to Soups Academy's principal training day?
No, I mean to augment their $135,000 a year salary for outstanding principals. So Ronner is somebody who's put his money where his mouth is when it comes to education and trying to push education reform.
I respect that.
And it deserves to be respected. That's number one. Number two, to your point, 50%, maybe it's not 50%. I don't know what the number is. I know there was a Sun-Times investigative report about a decade ago that found at the time 1 in 10 CPS teachers could not pass a basic skills test so simple that a high school freshman should be able to pass it. So 1 in 10 on 30,000 teachers, that's 3,000 teachers. That's significant because we know from the research that you have one bad teacher in terms of your child's intellectual development. You have great teachers 1st through 8th, except for 3rd grade, And that bad teacher has a disproportionately negative effect, can cost a child as much as a grade level in intellectual development, just having one bad teacher for 1 year. That's real. So, yes, could you say the overwhelming majority are good teachers? Sure, you could. I don't know what the percentage is, but there is a percentage of teachers in CPS that are not getting the job done, and they're protected by the union. We talked to Joseph O'Call, teaching in Inglewood. The teachers, his colleagues, that tried to discourage him from starting a chess club for African American students. It's in Inglewood. It's all African American.
Who needed to do stuff, keep busy after school.
Well, not only keep busy
on the streets.
Not only keep busy, but I mean, chess is a great way to develop a child's intellect and critical
and problem
reasoning.
Solving. Yeah.
I mean,
I should start playing chess. I need some chess in my life.
Well, that is a wonderfully constructive extracurricular activity. And his colleagues, this is Joseph O'Call. This is not me saying it. It's not Bruce Rauner saying, Joseph O'Call, I was discouraged from starting a chess club. In what universe do teachers discourage another teacher from, on his own time, starting a chess club and then, teaching children the game of chess? What universe is this? It's CPS. That's the universe. Inferior results at exorbitant prices, a system that is adult-centered, not child-centered. It is input-focused, not output-focused. He was directionally correct. Rather than apologizing and putting his tail between his legs, he would have been better to say, I was frustrated. I threw out numbers. I don't know what the numbers are, but I know what the system is. And let's have a conversation about that system that demands ever more money from the entire state, even though a majority of its funding already comes from the state, taxpayers from across the state, from Zion to Cairo. Let's have the conversation about CPS. Let's also have the conversation about teachers and why half of the teachers in this state leave the profession within their first 5 years. We're losing people who wanted to get into teaching, who were in teaching for the right reasons, who were talented because they had other options. You could tell that's why they left teaching. And we're in systems that wouldn't allow them to be great teachers. I believe, as Jeffrey Canada says, a great teacher is like a great artist. That's what I believe. And these systems don't allow teachers to be great artists. That's the debate and the conversation we could be having if Rauner wasn't so cowed by Chicago media and by the hysterics from a handful of teachers and everybody, getting on their, offering their high dungeon response. They're so insulted. You should be insulted and you should be disgusted by the system of which you're a part that is destroying the lives of the majority of the 400,000 kids in it every single year. That's what's happening in CPS. And I'm waiting for somebody to defend CPS. I've been calling for this for a decade. Karen Lewis, a teacher, a principal, you tell me, somebody make the case to me that CPS is a school system that is educating children. Nobody can make that case because it's a big lie. Bruce Rauner's missing an opportunity by focusing on the apology. Vince in Hinsdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Vince.
Good morning.
Morning.
Listen, these teachers need to stop whining. Do we realize how many decades they've been doing this? And by the way, Mr. Rauner, come on. Why is he apologizing for these wimps? They're underworked, overpaid. It's disgusting. They're all a bunch of whiners, and they serve. By the way, where do we rate in the country for grade level, whatever, teaching level and so on with the other states? I think we're way down. So please, next, don't interview them. Don't talk to them. Don't let them get on and give them a microphone in front of their face. That's the problem. Don't even talk to them. Have a nice day.
Thanks for the call, Vince. Ron on the south side.
Yeah, good morning, Dan. And you know what? No, he doesn't have to apologize. Actually, I wanted him to go a little further because there's another group and organization here, and when you look at them, you look at the teachers, most times it's determined by numbers and tests that they're not getting the job done. Well, it's another organization, Chicago Police Department. So when you look at the numbers, guess what? Same thing. Very influential union, not getting the job done. And you know what? They are incompetent. So you know what? That's what I want him to include them. I heard you earlier talking to some of them. They told, oh, yeah, we vote for Republicans. Not in Chicago. Things have been passed to the Democrat Party. But I just wanted to say that. That's another incompetent organization, CPD. So include them in it. Have a good day.
Thanks, Ron. And here's the other thing, too, and both have a point of commonality, civilian leadership. And that's another conversation Rauner could open up. Let's talk about the civilian leadership in the city of Chicago for, let's say, the last 100 years. and then talk about that in context of public safety, in the context of public education. And you want to put this on me? You want to pretend the state of Illinois is the problem? You want to pretend the guy who got elected 18 months ago is the problem? Come on. Get real. Bill on the north side.
Hey, good morning. 38 years I was on a police department, and we used to arrest teachers pretty regularly. One that comes to mind was a guy who was writing forging checks all over the city. They wouldn't let us arrest him at school because they said it would be traumatic for the children to see him. So we found he was living in an abandoned building on Glenshaw off of Roosevelt there. When we pick him up, he's got 2 pairs of pants on. The inner pair of pants had $1, and the other one had a half-eaten chicken leg, and he had his clothes on. The only other thing he had on him was his teacher's ID card so he can get into school. They didn't want us to arrest him in the school, but they let him teach these kids. That's why they had the problem. This was under Daley, the Democrat, who made us wait. We couldn't arrest him at school.
Thanks for the call, Bill. Wow. Not exactly a Golden Apple Award winner there. Mark in Des Plaines.
It's on hard times, Dan.
You know what's interesting about this is Rauner is a Republican. The Republicans always try to do the right things. The Democrats never really apologize. They never give up the con. If you saw Dinesh D'Souza's movie on this past weekend that just came out, you saw how this works. This is a big con. This is a big plantation, and it just keeps going on and on and on.
Thanks for the call, Mark.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next, someone within President Obama's inner circle has decided to endorse Donald Trump. We'll tell you who and we'll tell you why coming up. But first, here is your forecast. Plenty of sunshine today. Actually, we're going to have a string of gorgeous days. No rain until Thursday. But today it's going to be less humid, a high of 88 degrees. Let's get the numbers on the roadways. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. West side of Chicago, Douglas Boulevard is closed from Kedzie to Sawyer. Police involved shooting in the area. This is west of Douglas Park. Sawyer is also blocked, Douglas to 13th. North side, the intersection of Diversey, Western, and Elston still closed. The traffic signal in Wires down. And Wadsworth Dilly's is closed, Orchard Bluff to Mill Creek. Edens, 21 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 25. Kennedy, 36 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound it's an hour. The Eisenhower's, 52 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 43. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. Bryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Lakeshore Drive, it is jammed. Marquette to 57th due to traffic signal issues. Also heavy Roosevelt to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State, very slow, 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis. And Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue Curve. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
No matter who wins the presidential race, this is the most unusual election in our lifetimes. One candidate is an egomaniacal, scandal-plagued celebrity who can't go a day without spouting falsehoods. The other is a reality TV star. Good grief. So laugh, don't cry by spending an evening with acclaimed author and humorist P.J. O'Rourke and Friends of Liberty from across America at the Heartland Institute's 32nd anniversary benefit dinner. The Heartland Institute has worked to advance free markets and individual liberty, and P.J. O'Rourke has kept America laughing while advancing these principles.
Freedom of speech is important. If you have anything to say, I checked on the internet. Nobody does.
Hear PJ's unique and hilarious perspective on the election of our lifetimes. Early bird rates end July 31st, so act now and save 20% on tickets, tables, and a VIP reception. Call 312-377-4000 or visit heartland.org. This can't-miss event is September 15th in Palatine. That's 312-377-4000.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature.
Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance, but they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh my gosh, you have 6 tickets for tomorrow's game and you didn't extend an invitation to me? So rude. Hashtag rude.
I fill those seats with Sox fans.
Well, you can mix it up a little.
Nope. Oh, I could.
Yeah, you
I
could.
choose not to.
You know who's mixing it up is President Obama's half-brother. Remember him, Malik Obama?
Mm-hmm.
He lives in the village of Colgello. It's a Kenyan village, but he's also a registered Democrat in Maryland.
Is that funny?
I just think it's funny.
Okay.
But he came out and said that he is supporting, are you ready for this? Donald Trump. Why? Out of disappointment with his younger brother's administration. He says that Malik opposes his brother's...
Tell me about it, Malik.
He opposes his brother's support of gay marriage, as well as his decision to bring down his close friend, Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Yes, he says
that's kind of one of those backhanded endorsements. Yeah,
the last straw he said was his disappointment that FBI Director James Comey decided not to prosecute Hillary Clinton for the email scandal. He said that he wants to meet Donald Trump someday. He said he wants to make America great again, and he wants to meet him. So I can see those two together on stage. You know, even Obama supports me. That would be the headline, don't you think?
Yeah,
and Donald Trump, delighted by the news, and concluded. Are you ready? That the older Obama must have been mistreated by his younger brother.
Of course, Donald Trump always filling in the blanks with wild speculation. Now, the only thing he needs to do, though, to consolidate that kind of counterintuitive set of endorsements, you know who he needs to get?
Who?
Roger Clinton.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you or someone you know facing foreclosure? Losing the family home? Well, you'd be not alone, so please listen to this. There are a lot of issues in a foreclosure, legal issues, factual issues. Dozens so far, and more coming to light every day. You see, people, we are in the aftermath of what will go down in history as the greatest financial crime in history, from which a lot of people profited immensely. And these people did not always do things entirely legally. That is a foregone conclusion. I'm Lou Bridges. I put together a law firm dedicated to foreclosure defense and to avoiding foreclosure by working with the banks, based on a thorough examination and analysis of all the potential issues and questions. And we have surrounded ourselves with people equally committed to this pursuit of justice.
Call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231. Or visit FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. That's FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Get real answers from a real foreclosure defense firm and discover the legal tools at your disposal.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, powered by Tandem HR. According to the Department of Labor, 60% of employers said their employees' health habits were their biggest concern when it comes to managing rising healthcare costs. Many companies today are faced with rising healthcare expenses that comprise their operating budgets. Fortunately, innovative workplace wellness programs exist to help control spiraling healthcare costs. Health risk assessments, one-on-one wellness coaching, and a wide range of online and mobile resources assist employees in living a more healthy lifestyle, significantly reducing illness, absences, medical claims, and accidents. More information on workplace wellness can be found at WSEAP.com. That's WSEAP.com.
For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, heard Sunday afternoons at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is powered by Tandem HR.
Okay, so college is great, but let's just be honest, the food's mediocre and the beds stink. So to all you parents out there about to send your kids off to college, do us a favor. Invest in some good bedding. My parents swear by the Company Store. Like, their mattress toppers, they're like magic. They make these sad dorm beds feel like a spa. And this is not just about pretty princess needing a comfy bed in college. It's about protecting your investment in your flesh and blood. Seriously, college is expensive. And we need sleep to learn, and sleep is hard to come by at college. Plus, everything from the Company Store is designed to last. So you buy it once, and you're done. And that's a win for you, too. You're welcome.
TheCompanyStore.com has been perfecting a good night's sleep for over 100 years. From mattress topper and pillows scientifically designed for a good night's sleep to sheets created for comfort. Visit TheCompanyStore.com to see our full line of mattress toppers, pillows, comforters, and more. Enter the code CAMPUS and get 15% off your order plus free shipping. Visit TheCompanyStore.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, yeah. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is going to address the Florida delegation up here soon.
Ooh, to be a fly on the wall there. Coming up, we've got Joe Trippi, Fox News contributor, former Howard Dean campaign manager, you recall. The impact of the Tim Kaine selection as Hillary's running mate we'll discuss at 7:37.
But first, let's check in with the one and only Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 75 degrees and sunshine for us, while police in Fort Myers investigating and holding 3 for questioning. After a deadly shooting at a nightclub overnight, 2 are dead. As many as now 16 others are hurt. The shooting happened at a teen night event. Some of the wounded as young as 13. The Democratic National Convention will nominate Hillary Clinton for president, and it opens today in Philadelphia. Clinton will formally accept the party's nomination Thursday night, and the convention kicks off one day after Debbie Wasserman Schultz announcing her resignation as chairman of the DNC over an email hacking scandal. Michigan Representative Debbie Dingell says that the Democratic Party's impartiality being called into question is unfortunate.
I remind everybody that you need to be careful what you put in writing, and we've got to move forward. I think that both candidates ran good, strong, hard campaigns. We're here. We got to win in November.
Schultz issuing a statement today saying she will still open and close the convention. Donald Trump's post-convention bounce. Right now, about 3 to 4 points, if you believe a CNN ORC poll out today. The Republican leading his Democratic rival, 48 to 45%. A manhunt is underway. 2 suspects are being looked for, searching after an officer with the Travis County, Texas Sheriff's Office was shot inside his home overnight. Fast-moving wildfire north of L.A. blowing up, forcing more than 1,000 from their homes. It's the Sand Fire, which grew by 10,000 acres yesterday. Storms knocked out power to thousands and snarled public transit overnight, leading to delays this morning on the CTA red, brown, and blue lines, although those are showing normal activity right now. There are still some power outages out there being dealt with by ComEd and by NIPSCO in northwest Indiana. Cubs over Milwaukee 6-5. White Sox topped Detroit twice, 4-3 and 5-4. The news service of CiCi's Pizza. Can you believe it? CiCi's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas, original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuffed. Try them all and your other CiCi's favorites for $5 and change. The CiCi's buffet just got better. Believe it. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Here Maps. Hit the open road with free offline turn-by-turn guidance that works anywhere. Get it for your phone at here.com/offline.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Billy wanted to contact a realtor before purchasing a home in Arlington Heights. Bad move. Not getting pre-qualified by me before talking to a realtor is like skydiving without a parachute. I pre-qualified Billy to purchase a home and introduced him to Donna Sattler, my preferred Arlington Heights realtor. If you're purchasing a home, call me first. I'll pre-qualify you for free and introduce you to my experienced team of preferred realtors who will help you locate the perfect home. My team of real estate experts will always look out for your financial best interest. If you're buying a home, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License D4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
7:36, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center time. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. On Chicago's west side, Douglas Boulevard is closed between Kedzie and Sawyer. Sawyer blocked in that area as well near 13th after a police-involved shooting. The Edens is 23 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 26. The Kennedy, 36 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound it's an hour. The Eisenhower, 55 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 50. Stevenson, 52 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Lakeshore Drive is a mess from Marquette to 57 with traffic signal issues. Tri-State southbound, still Washington to Bradley. Northbound, stop and go 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis, Roosevelt to Grand, Veterans Memorial, still 75th to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to St. Charles, and Army Trail to Lake. Traffic service of CiCi's Pizza. Can you believe it? CiCi's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas. Original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuff. Try them all and your other CiCi's favorites for just $5 and change. The CiCi's buffet just got better. Believe it. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Sunny, warm, less humid this afternoon, high 88. Clear and 67 overnight, 74 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
It's Feldco's biggest sale of the year. Get $1 installation on all windows, siding, and doors.
Call 866 for Feldco.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. DNC starts today.
Yes, it does.
DWS is out right after the DNC. And then she's going to join HRC.
Yeah, she's going to be a consultant on the Hillary Clinton campaign. She's going to be focusing on, they said, all 50 states, and then later on joining her campaign in fall.
Well,
like meaning that she'll be campaigning on the road with Hillary, her BFF.
Well, helping us to do a little ciphering of all that's going on with the Democrats and what the convention portends.
A convention?
We're happy to be joined by our friend Joe Trippi, Fox News Channel contributor, also well-regarded Democrat Party consultant. Joe, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan, it'd be great to be with you guys.
You're in Philly, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what's the kind of sense on the ground of all the controversy over the weekend leading to Debbie Wasserman Schultz stepping down after the convention?
Well, I mean, one, I actually think her stepping down, as disruptive as it may be, is going to be far less disruptive than if she had actually presided over the convention and spoke. I mean, I think it would have been the Boo Fest that would have made Ted Cruz's speech look like a celebration. So I think in that sense, she's done the right thing by resigning again for the end of the convention. But it's still, I think, the one thing I think you'll see that's different, or the Democrats will try to be different than what happened in Cleveland for the GOP, is to get all the disruptive stuff out of the way on day one. So, DWS out today. If there's any rules or platform problems, they happen today. If Bernie Sanders is going to go off script, it happens today. And what happened with the Republican convention is, you had the rules thing, you had Cruz late in the. We'll try to get all that out of the way today, and then turn with Michelle Obama later on in the evening, and hopefully Bernie. Turn towards the job of differentiating between Trump and Hillary that the Trump campaign really didn't get to till his speech on the last night of the convention.
Well, do you think Bernie Sanders, during his speech, he's going to encourage people to vote for Hillary Clinton, or is he going to talk for 17 minutes before he even mentions her name?
No, I think he'll encourage people to vote for Hillary and to mobilize and unify, behind her, and probably more in a stop Trump kind of speech. But I still think he'll get to and will promote Hillary. I think he's made that decision. That doesn't mean all his people on the floor, that will
they're going to be chanting
go
Bernie.
along to get along. I mean, you could well see some disruptions on the floor tonight, as we did at the Republican convention. But like I said, hopefully with him speaking tonight and any floor messes happening tonight, that'll be the last we see of it. Unlike, I'm not saying we'll get through the whole convention without more, but I think every Democrat is hoping that it's all out of the way tonight.
So unity is one challenge for Clinton coming out of this convention. Another challenge, it seems, is her trustworthiness. CNN poll this morning, nearly 70% of those surveyed, likely general election voters, do not find Hillary trustworthy. How does she address that problem?
Well, I think, look, that's going to be a problem. She's not going to just get addressed here at the convention, but it's going to be a problem that she has to deal with all the way through November, and it's going to be, it's going to have to be chipped away at. And I think part of that is also Trump is not on other measures is, from being not able to, his temperament, et cetera. He's got similar soaring numbers. So I think that, it's going to be, that's why we have the election. People are going to have to make a decision. She's going to try to convince people about her credibility, and he's got to convince people about his temperament. We saw a little bit of that at his convention, and in terms of his speech, the teleprompter, staying on script, which is, something he can do when he puts his mind to it, but he's going to have to maintain that all the way through as well. So, I think both candidates have problems. We all know that. The question is, can he try to address some of his at the convention? Obviously, he's gotten a bump, a bigger bump than usual. Republicans usually, on average, get a 4.9% bump out of their convention. He's running looks to me in the polls like he's gotten a bump about a point larger than that. Democrats traditionally, on average, get an even bigger bump. They're closer to 6 points on average. Can she do that? If she does, we'll be sitting in the same place we were before
Right.
the conventions. But if she does, he did get a bigger bump than usual for, I think, the biggest bump since 2000. Trump accomplished.
Well,
so you got to give him credit for that.
And do you think that perhaps part of that bump is the law and order theme that wasn't just on Monday night last week, but kind of ran throughout the convention? And if that's true, if you accept that premise, how does Hillary Clinton and how did the Democrats address that? At the same time, they're having speakers like Michael Brown's mother, and they've been kind of chastised by the Philadelphia FOP.
Well, first of all, I think the premise is right that that was the one theme I think that the GOP accomplished, sort of hitting on. I think some of them, like the economic stuff, kind of got lost over the night for the most part. But I think the law and order message was pretty consistent and may well be a part of that bump. I think in the end, what happens in these things is a terror attack, something else like that, can temporarily change everybody's focus. I mean, for most of this year, the focus really has been on the economy and economics, and almost every presidential campaign is built on that. And so I think the DNC, I think you're likely to see more emphasis on the economy. And part of the bet here on both sides, I mean, Trump's got to be betting that this these incidents sort of. I don't mean he's for them happening again, but that they're consistent and that we're getting into November and people are still as worried as they are, right after the Nice attack or Orlando and these other things. In the end, generally that always happens, but in the end, people vote on the economy. And so I think you're going to see that dichotomy between the two campaigns for a while.
Hey, Joe, the left has described the RNC as chaotic and said that Trump's speech on Thursday night was very dark and it created fear in a lot of Americans. What kind of tone do you think the DNC is going to take? Because Elizabeth Warren's also speaking tonight, and I could see her just attacking Donald Trump repeatedly.
Yeah, look, I think Mike, one of the things I think both these campaigns need to realize is, look, if you don't like Hillary Clinton, if you hate her, Trump already has that vote. And I think the same thing, by the way, for Hillary Clinton. I think one of the things that the GOP convention did too much of, or didn't do enough of, was building on Trump's positive, building him up and sort of trying to plug in some of the holes or doubts that people have about him. So I think the Democratic convention, certainly there's going to be a lot of beating up on Donald Trump. That's going to happen. But I think you're going to see a more forward-looking, positive narrative to help build Hillary Clinton, help start to plug in some of the doubts that people have about her. I think the one problem that I think the Trump folks had, I think every insurgent who gets to a convention has, is they're not part of the party apparatus. They don't have the operatives that know how to put night 1, night 2, night 3, night 4 together in a consistent narrative. They did a pretty good job given how quickly they had to pull together with the Republicans, with the RNC to pull it off. But the one advantage that I think the Clinton team has is that they've been through, they were there in 2008 on the floor at Obama's convention. Many of them, and Hillary were there in 92 and 96. So I think they know how the craft of putting a convention narrative together that reaches the country. I think they're just ready for that in a way that the Trump campaign couldn't possibly have been. Not Trump's fault, just the way his campaign came in.
Although I would say that the Trump kids and counterintuitive speakers like Peter Thiel helped to paper over some of those gaps. But,
yes,
Joe, before we let you go, I want to get to your analysis of the Tim Kaine selection. You give us the calculus that Hillary made in selecting Tim Kaine, what it means in terms of her perspective on how this race plays out.
Well, if Hillary Clinton wins Virginia and Florida, it forces Trump he has to then win Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. He has to sweep not just two of the Midwest states. He has to take the entire Midwest, every single one of those states. I think Kaine won. She was already ahead in Virginia, and Virginia's pretty consistently over the last few presidentials voted Democratic. Democratic governor is close to Clinton. I think picking Kaine pretty much, I think, takes Virginia off the table. And then you got a guy that you can park in Florida, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada, speaks Spanish, Catholic, who can appeal to, in a lot of ways, like Joe Biden did to places like Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's about you get somebody who can take Virginia off the table and give you a leg up in Florida. And if you get those two things out of Tim Kaine, I think he may end up being the most consequential VP pick in decades.
All right,
if that happens.
Interesting. All right, he's Joe Trippi, Fox News political analyst, also a well-regarded Democrat Party political consultant. Joe, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Great to be with you guys.
Enjoy the convention.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
about Stephen Hayes on Trump coming up next. But first, here's your forecast. Sunshine today, a little less humid, high of 88 still, and then tonight clear. And tomorrow, plenty of that sunshine. Humidity returns a tad and a high near 90. Jim Talamonte, let's talk about traffic.
All right, Amy, thanks. Good morning. On Chicago's west side, Douglas Boulevard has reopened between Sawyer and Kedzie. Sawyer is still closed between Douglas and 13th after a police-involved shooting. The Edens Expressway is 21 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 32. The Kennedy, with inbound delays starting at Lawrence, 42 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound it's an hour. The Eisenhower, an hour and 4 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 57 minutes. Stevenson is 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. The Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Lakeshore Drive, it's a mess from Marquette to 57th with traffic signal issues. Tri-State southbound, slow Washington to 176. Northbound, really slow, 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis and Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue Curve. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Oh, I slept like a baby once my head hit my pillow. Oh, off to nighty-night I went. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. And I know you've heard me talk about my pillow, but I was away from it for a week. And, yeah, I paid the price. I should travel with that bad boy because it's American-made and it conforms to your neck and back, so it helps with that chronic neck and back pain. Throw it in the wash to remove the dead skin, dirt, skin oils, and dust mites that can cause those allergies, acne, and asthma. And you really deserve a washable MyPillow. As I mentioned, it does come with that 10-year warranty, and it's an excellent health investment. So here's what you do. Visit MyPillow.com. Be sure to use the promo code Amy, and you'll get 2 MyPillows for the price of one. Give one as a gift. Keep one for yourself, or just use both. But do it now. 800-489-0201. It's a great gift to yourself. MyPillow. 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Amy.
When you hear the word chiller, the first thing that pops into your mind may be a frozen drink from your favorite convenience store. If you run a business or you're a maintenance engineer, you know of a different kind of chiller. The mechanical one that keeps you, your employees, and customers cool in the summer. And with this summer predicted to be hotter than normal, you don't want to get stuck on one of those 90-plus degree days with no AC. Better call Air Comfort and get your chiller tuned up and running at peak performance. A professional inspection can find small problems before they become big problems, and proper maintenance can keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your AC is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
Futures and options trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. A financial winter may be coming. However, this could be the best time in history to make money trading the markets if you know what to do. Trading Advantage has helped thousands of traders reach their goals and live out their dreams. Right now, many people are scared, unsure of what to do as they nervously cling to their buy and hold strategies, praying they will not lose their money. Meanwhile, our traders are systematically pulling in profits because they know exactly how to play this market. President and founder Larry Levin has personally made $1.9 million using strategies ideal for these markets and is now offering you one of them for free. To get Larry's strategy, simply call in the next 30 minutes and leave your email on our voicemail. Stop being afraid and use this financial winter to build your wealth instead of losing it. Act now. Call 800-356-9852. Leave your email on our voicemail in the next 30 minutes to claim your free trading strategy. 800-356-9852. Call 800-356-9852 for your free trading strategy from Trading Advantage. 800-356-9852. Call now.
AM 560, The Answer.
They're finally believing Bernie. I mean, he has known all along the party leaders were showing bias toward Hillary Clinton, but now we have those emails that were linked on Friday. And Bernie Sanders, he's not gloating, but he feels a little vindicated.
Well, I think it's outrageous, but it is not a great shock to me. I think, as I said, it's what we talked about 6 months ago. I mean, there's no question to my mind, and I think no question to any objective observer's mind that the DNC was supporting Hillary Clinton, was in opposition to our campaign. So I'm not quite shocked by this. And that is why many, many months ago, I made it clear that I thought Debbie Wasserman Schultz should resign, should step down, not only because of the prejudice I think they showed during the campaign, but also because I think we need a new leadership of the Democratic Party.
So will this affect her political career down the line? I mean, does she stand a chance of losing her congressional seat?
Of course it
no,
will.
I mean, could she lose her congressional seat?
I don't know about
one?
losing a congressional seat the way these districts are drawn, even though it's a primary, I understand. But the point is, nice scalp for Comrade Bernie. And here's the other thing, the emails that came out. This is a bigger question for the Democrats and for those that are allied with the Democrats, particularly since Bernie Sanders' faith was questioned. And they were going to use try and use his faith, the DNC, the Hillary people, try and use his faith against him, his Jewish faith. The 70% of Jews who voted for Obama twice, who otherwise generally affiliate with the Democrats. What do you think about that? And what would your reaction be if it had been the RNC doing that instead of Hillary and the DNC doing that? That's a question to contemplate.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
Polls show Americans don't care about economic inequality. If someone works for his money, our attitude is, good for you. To make us care, opponents of economic inequality resort to a gimmick. It works like this. 1, point to people who are suffering some hardship. 2, then point to people who are doing well. 3, imply the problem is not the hardship, but the gap between those who are doing well and those who aren't. 4, demand we fight the gap by bringing down the high flyers. We need to reject this gimmick. Gaps don't matter. We should feel bad for a blind child because he can't see, not because we can. If you want to understand and discover how to oppose the campaign against economic inequality, listen to my show. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brooks Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. Best thing I ever got in my. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Mike Rowe here for 1 hour. Today, Chuck is jogging in place to make a point about energy efficiency.
I thought I was training for a marathon.
He's been at it now for...
3 minutes.
And already he's wearing out.
I'm not.
Your heating and air conditioning systems are a lot like Chuck.
Warm yet somehow cool.
Wheezing, wasting energy, and probably headed for replacement.
You're talking about the air systems, right?
Sure, pal. Sure. Call 1 hour before it's too late.
Can you do the disclaimer for me?
Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Thanks.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Is air conditioning as great a threat to civilization as ISIS? John Kerry thinks so. We'll ask Dr. Sebastian Gorka if he thinks so at 8:08.
But first, here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, the latest from Fox coming up in just a moment on a teen shooting in Florida at a nightclub event overnight. A canopy knocked over onto the CTA's Blue Line tracks. We'll tell you about that. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It appears to be gangs, not terrorists.
We got a gunshot victim in the middle of the parking lot.
That police audio from Broadcastify after midnight outside of Fort Myers nightclub shooting. At least 2 people dead, 16 injured. Fox's Evan Brown live in Miami.
Now, Dave, Fox News is being told the shooting was likely gang-related. The local newspaper, The News Press, identifies one victim as Stefan Strauder, a star basketball player for nearby Lehigh Senior High School. The nightclub, called Club Blue, was hosting a party for teens and says they took as many precautions as possible, including having armed security, but the shooting happened outdoors. The gunman may have been riding in an SUV. Multiple shell casings litter the pavement with evidence markers in place. Police now say the scene is secure, and 3 people have been detained for questioning, Dave.
A Texas police officer has been found dead, shot in the backyard of his own home early this morning. North of Austin, he'd called for help on his own radio at around 1 a.m. No arrests have been made. The Democratic convention starts today.
I feel the Democratic nominee ought to be Bernie Sanders.
He and a lot of protesters will be outside amid attempts inside to unify around Hillary Clinton. Fox's Tanya J. Powers live in Philadelphia.
Yeah, nowhere is that more evident than today's theme, Dave, which is united together in the aftermath of those emails published by WikiLeaks that suggest the DNC favored Clinton over Sanders. DNC chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz is resigning that post as a result, but interim chair Donna Brazile says the party is investigating.
We have to make sure that the material, the information that gets out is not harmful to the party.
A big protest is planned today involving a pro-Bernie Sanders group. They're expected to walk across the Ben Franklin Bridge that connects New Jersey with Philadelphia, Dave.
Tanya, think back. Smoke covers parts of Los Angeles County. Wind whipped a wildfire back up, forcing evacuees who are going to return home to flee again. This man saw flames
100 feet tall. Full tornado of fire, spinning. Nothing like I've ever seen close up.
18 homes have burned down. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sunshine, 74 degrees. It is 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Severe storms knocked out power to thousands and disrupted travel on the CTA Sunday evening, where a spokeswoman says a pedestrian ramp canopy was severely damaged by lightning, wind, and a combination of the two caused a major obstruction and fire along the blue line.
Stuff started falling. Boom, boom, boom. That lightning hit, and I think the lightning was what did it all.
No reports of injuries. Service on the red and brown lines was also impacted. ComEd also saw thousands without power. Authorities are investigating after 2 women were killed in a rollover crash on Chicago's far south side. State police say a vehicle driving on I-57 slammed into a squad car near 99th Street. Slammed into a car near 99th Street. The troopers investigating say Julia Cooper and Tashay Norwood were pronounced dead at the scene. A group of Chicago police officers and family members gathered outside a district station holding a prayer vigil for an officer shot last week and others killed nationwide in recent weeks. Superintendent Eddie Johnson says police are currently working in difficult times. A Republican state representative is resigning from the Illinois House, citing what he called cybersecurity issues. Ron Sandek also says he's no longer willing to miss important family events. Cubs over Milwaukee 6-5. White Sox take a pair from the Tigers. Chris Sale remains suspended until Thursday. The news, a service of Burger King's grilled dogs. Where are you going to get that delicious grilled hot dog? A backyard? Nope, Burger King. Burger King grilled dogs are made with 100% beef, flame grilled to perfection. Pick up a grilled hot dog today at participating Burger King restaurants. Flame grilling hot dog since 2016. 8:03 time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Verizon Communications is buying Yahoo's web business for $4.83 billion in cash. At its peak, Yahoo was worth more than $125 billion. The sale does not include Yahoo's stake in Alibaba Group Holdings, China's version of Amazon.com. It also does not include Yahoo Japan. Kevin Kelly is with Recon Capital Management.
This is a good deal, especially for Verizon. So they thought Yahoo was going to hold them up on this sales process and actually ask for more, but this is a fair price.
Reports say Yahoo Chief Executive Marissa Mayer will make more than $50 million in a severance package if she's terminated. Donna Karan International is being sold to apparel company G3 for $650 million, including debt. The Dow closed up 53 on Friday. NASDAQ gained 26. S&P was up 9. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Marxists, socialists, and communists forget the government doesn't have any money.
The Dave Ramsey Show.
Except money it took from someone who is producing money. Government creates no money. The only way the government has money is if it took it from one of us. And so the only way that it would have money to give these people is if it took more from the other people. Thus, Marxism, communism.
Dave Ramsey, weeknights starting at 7. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
Thousands of people are choosing the flexibility of working when they want, driving with Uber. You'll control your day, plus be able to start earning right away just by driving your own car.
I've got 2 kids. They're both in summer camp, and I'll drop them off. Then I turn on the Uber app, the ride requests come in, and I'm earning extra money. Working when I want, being my own boss. Driving with Uber is definitely the best option for me.
Earn the extra money you need on your schedule. Get started today. Sign up right now. Go to uber.com/drive now. uber.com/drive now.
It's National Make a Will Month at LegalZoom.com, so it's time to take care of your will or trust. LegalZoom makes it easy. They're not a law firm, so there's no office visits or paying expensive hourly rates. Instead, you could save over $100 with LegalZoom's will or trust estate plan bundles. And if you don't know whether a will or trust is right for you, don't worry. You'll work with an independent attorney available in 48 states to get advice on what you need. Do the right thing this month at LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom.com.
8:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Let's get the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On Chicago's west side, Sawyer remains closed between 13th and Douglas Boulevard after a police-involved shooting. North side, the intersection of Diversey Western and Elston remains blocked with a down traffic signal and wires. The Edens is 22 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 32. The Kennedy now 41 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound. It's an hour and 2 minutes to the airport. 33 minutes to get to Montrose. The Eisenhower 57 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop 41 from Manheim. Outbound an hour to Thorndale. Stevenson 47 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 45. Ryan is 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Lakeshore Drive, it's a mess. Marquette to 57th, but the traffic signals are flashing red. Tri-state delays, southbound Washington to 137, northbound 83rd to 31st, and Roosevelt to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway jam from before 25 to Roselle. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly sunny, less humid. For the afternoon, high of 87. Tonight, clear and humid, low 67. Then humid tomorrow with sunshine, high of 89, clear night, low 67. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
75 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
His political views are not my political views. He is more conservative than I am.
Growth of ISIS occurred as direct result of the policies that he and Secretary Clinton established when they took office in 2009. The world's an unsafe place today because of his failed leadership, not because of anything Donald Trump has done.
I'm grateful to you, Hillary, for the trust that you've placed in me.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I know we've been focused on the RNC and the DNC, but in between, we had a very bloody weekend. We had the attack in Munich, 9 murdered by someone who, according to a witness, yelled Allahu Akbar when he opened fire on those gathered around a McDonald's restaurant in a mall after he had attempted to lure people there with by hacking into somebody's Facebook account and offering like
free stuff.
Right,
that's what
free
he said.
food or discounts.
There's video of him going Al Akbar and shooting. I don't know if you saw it. It's very disturbing.
We had a Syrian refugee in Germany blow himself up, injuring 12 after he was not allowed into a music festival. He had been seeking asylum and had not had asylum granted. We had another Syrian refugee who macheted a pregnant woman to death in Germany. We had suicide bombings in Kabul and Baghdad, 80 dead in Kabul, 14 dead in Baghdad.
And in Kabul, they snuck in those bombs on their persons by hiding in burqas. So these men, 3 men, don burqas. All right, and that's a big concern that people have. That's why in Paris they have, a no burqa law, because they don't know what's underneath the black robe. And that's a graphic example of why certain cities have certain rules to protect the people.
And then in South Florida, Fort Myers this morning, this broke just before we came on the air. We don't have a lot of details yet, but we know 2 people have been murdered, another 16 injured at a nightclub in Fort Myers. And
it was hosting a teen night.
Right. Three persons of interest had been detained by police as of earlier. We're still waiting for more information about the basis of that shooting, responsible parties, motive, all of those things we just don't know. So quite a bloody business. And President Obama was on with John Dickerson, Face the Nation, over the weekend, and his preeminent concern is Trump's rhetoric.
The kinds of rhetoric that we've heard too often from Mr. Trump and others is ultimately helping to do ISIL's work for us.
And Paul Manafort, his campaign manager, responded to the president when he was on this week with Clinton Foundation Donor Zero.
The growth of ISIS occurred as direct result of the policies that he and Secretary Clinton established when they took office in 2009. The world's an unsafe place today because of his failed leadership, not because of anything Donald Trump has done.
Well, it's difficult to argue with that. Donald Trump has no policy-making authority, and it's my sense of it is, regardless of what Donald Trump does or does not say, ISIS isn't taking cues from what politicians in the U.S. say. If they're nice to ISIS, then ISIS goes away and stops their
if we give them
eschatological jihad. Right.
Because President Obama said ISIS members, they just need jobs.
Yeah, I'm skeptical of that position, but let's get an expert on the issue. He is our friend, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, the author of Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War. Dr. Gorka, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. Thanks for having me.
So what about President Obama's contention that Donald Trump's rhetoric is only fomenting terrorist activity?
Well, clearly then American rhetoric must have fomented the jihadis who 200 years ago were taking our sailors and our ships hostage off the coast of Libya during the first Barbary Wars. So this is just the Trump-esque left-wing narrative that we are the problem. America is the problem, and if we just shut up, if we close down our bases, we'll be safe. I think 2011 and what happened in Iraq when we left proves how absolutely fallacious everything the president is saying. When you create a vacuum, when you're not clear about who the enemy is, the enemy takes strength from that. That is how ISIS today has become much more powerful than Al-Qaeda ever was.
All right.
To say we are the problem really is a very, very dangerous perspective.
Well, and so I want to get your perspective. Rhetoric's not the problem as vis-a-vis ISIS, but maybe we're not focused on the real threat. Secretary of State John Kerry was in Vienna on Friday, and he said that air conditioners and refrigerators are as big of a threat to life as the threat of terrorism posed by groups like ISIS. It's hard for some people to believe, to grasp it, but what you are doing right here now is of equal importance, talking to the assembled global alarmists, because it has the ability to literally save life on the planet itself. Is John Kerry right? We kind of have our eye off the ball a bit. We need to focus on air conditioning and refrigerators?
Well, this is the reason I wrote my book, Defeating Jihad. There is this incredible Alice in Wonderland fantasy world that our political elite lives in. I mean, how many refrigerators are there on John Kerry's yacht? That's what I'd like to know. I mean, when you step out of, does the average American, when they step out of their home in the morning, are they scared of refrigerators? Really? Is that what happened in Orlando? Is that what happened in San Bernardino? Is that what happened in Nice? Is that what happened in Istanbul, Brussels, or Paris? This man is, I think, his sell-by date has come and gone. He needs to get out of national security because he's just disconnected from and all your listeners live in.
But I mean, ISIS is listening, and they're watching what our leaders do. They're hearing from President Obama. They're hearing what John Kerry had to say, and don't you think they're laughing?
Oh my gosh, are they laughing? All they know is that, again, we're proving, our elite is proving they don't get it. They're not paying attention to what really is happening. They have the Attorney General of the most powerful nation in the world say, love will solve this all. This is incredible. This is a gift. This is a gift to our enemy. And as a result, they're going to keep doing these attacks. That's the scary truth.
Well, what's going on in Germany? I mean, it seems to me Germany isn't as far gone, and maybe that's too strong a word, but isn't as beset with a fifth column problem the way France is. But then you see the spate of attacks over the weekend, and maybe that's not the case anymore.
We have to differentiate. So France is in a very dire situation because of all the areas where you've had heavy immigration over the decades and created enclaves where people really aren't integrating into French society. And these enclaves are, of course, exploited mercilessly by the terrorists to provide cover and provide the kinds of places where they can plan attacks. Germany's a little bit different. You don't have that level of enclave and lack of integration, but what you do have is a chancellor who's welcomed more than 1 million immigrants from a war zone, and at the time when ISIS is saying, we will exploit these immigrant flows, and when we know one of the Brussels attackers was on a false passport and had acquired refugee status. So this is the reality. They're both at they're really very, very endangered, but for different reasons.
All right. He is Dr. Sebastian Gorka, the author of Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War. Dr. Gorka, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
So who is this Senator Tim Kaine? Find out. It's not just something I'm walking with. Heyo. Today your forecast, mostly sunny skies. It's going to be warm, less humid this afternoon, a high of 88 degrees. For tonight's Crosstown Classic at the Cell, right, where Dan's going tonight?
That is correct.
Oh, thanks for the invite. It's going to be clear. We're going to have a low of 67 degrees. And then tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, humid, a high near 90. Jim Talamonte, are you going to the game today?
No, won't be able to make it, and maybe that's a good thing given the pitching matchup. Doesn't look too good for our Sox, Dan, but we'll see what happens.
Keep your clothes on. Little faith.
That's right. Maybe they'll pull it through. So right now we got all kinds of traffic issues. Metro now on the Burlington Northern Santa Fe, the BNSF line. We've got trains stopped at Western Avenue on the outbound side due to police activity there. Edens Expressway, 21 minutes, like Cook to Montrose, outbound 32. The Kennedy, 42 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound, it's an hour and 2 minutes, jammed. North Avenue to Canfield. Eisenhower, 57 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour. Stevenson, 47 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45. The Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Northbound Lakeshore Drive is jammed. Marquette to 57th. Traffic signals malfunctioning. Jim Talamonte and the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-1443. That's 1-800-467-1443. 1-800-467-1443. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
Your child is growing up. High school is your last chance to choose who will influence your student, who will help guide your child on the path to adulthood. Take a moment to consider Luther North. Luther North College Preparatory School on Chicago's Northwest Side challenges students to develop strong values and leadership qualities as they set goals for the future. Luther North boasts small class sizes, broad extracurricular opportunities, and championship athletic teams. Is your student ready to pursue higher level academics through AP classes or Luther North's dual credit program with Concordia University? Does your child struggle with organization, time management, impulse control, or stress management? Luther North provides a grounded, faith-based environment where faculty and staff are focused on seeing and serving your student as an individual. It's time to consider Luther North. Learn more at luthernorthcollegeprep.org or call 773-286-3600. Scholarships and financial aid options are available.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Amy, what are you hoping Michelle Obama will do tonight?
I'm hoping when Michelle Obama, the First Lady, takes the stage, she's wearing the same exact dress that Melania wore last Monday. And I hope...
Well, you know, it cannot be the same exact dress.
Why?
Because it's going to be a much different size.
Oh, that was... You know what? That was very catty. Very catty. I think Michelle's got a wonderful body. Anywho, stop it. But also, I really hope that she plagiarizes... Just to, even the field. I hope
a chill ran down my spine.
I hope she plagiarizes her. Don't say we're going to work hard together. Don't say never give up, because that would be plagiarism.
Maybe she can do the speech in a Slovenian accent.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be good.
I mean, that would liven things up. That would make people laugh. I'd laugh.
Yeah.
I'd get a kick out of it.
And there's nothing funnier than the Obamas. We are not in Philadelphia this week, as we were in Cleveland
We're
last
not?
week. We're not.
I thought I smelled cheesesteaks around here.
We're in Chicago. That's my breakfast. But our technical producer, David Stripling, is. And he landed on the ground in the city of brotherly love yesterday and already got a little man on the street from a couple of Bernie supporters, none too happy with Hillary Clinton. Bernie supporters and never Hillary. Hashtag.
Bernie has opened my eyes to a lot of things I used to not care about politics at all. He showed me the corruption, the evils going on in our system and our government. It's very corrupt. I'm never Hillary because she's part of the corruption. She's part of Wall Street. She is part of what Bernie's campaign stands for. And I am 100% Bernie or bust and 100% never Hillary.
Well, were you involved in... Were you involved in politics before this?
No.
So Bernie got you in.
Yes.
So he started running in 2015. When did you catch on?
I started to become a Bernie supporter probably in about, I would say January of this year, and I've been totally active Bernie supporter since then. He drew me in with the college. The college should be free because I am a college student. I am in a lot of debt. That was one of the things that brought me into Bernie, and then once I started learning about Bernie more, I became a huge, crazy supporter. The more you learn, the more you burn. That's a true fact.
The more you learn, the more you burn. Yeah.
He's going to make all my college debt go away.
She did say she is a crazy Bernie supporter, which is the only kind. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, these are two young women that are
very young.
I'm
glad David took one for the team to
Yeah.
interview these young, lovely ladies.
Yeah, well, but they represent a sort
they
of
do.
millennial perspective on some issues like, these debt-laden college students. and the promise of a chicken in every pot, their pot in particular, has appeal. I don't think Hillary can make the same, faux offering, and they'll believe it. And this is why she's got a real problem. She's got 70% of the people, the likely general election voters, that don't trust her. And she's got core constituencies, the solidarity and marginality constituencies like millennials that turned out in big numbers for Barack Obama that I don't think are going to be there for Grandma Hillary. And that presents a problem for her in a close election in battleground states where by the way, after last week's RNC, Trump now leads.
But how long do you think he'll have the lead? Because after the DNC, they may get a bump. Depends on what tone they take and what really happens with this email scandal. Because once again, Clinton email scandal, in the same sentence. Here we go again. I mean, it's a different player this time, but still, it's all focused on her because her friends at the DNC wanted her to be president and even said Bernie Sanders is never going to be president.
Well, it seems to me that Hillary has two problems, not dissimilar to Trump, but they've been exacerbated by this leak, right? The one is an internal problem, the Bernie supporters. Mm-hmm. Two is an external problem. And the external problem is going to be on display this week because they're going to double down on racial politics, the politics of racial division, gender division, that solidarity and marginality, that bigot baiting that the left has to do to keep that coalition together. And when you have the FOP rebuking Hillary Clinton, Mrs. Clinton, you should be ashamed of yourself if that is possible. That's what FOP, Philadelphia Lodge 5 FOP President John McNesby said in a letter he penned to Hillary Clinton because they are profiling speakers this week, including Michael Brown's mother and Trayvon Martin's mother, and that's to the exclusion of any family members of police officers killed in the line of duty. Police are none too happy about it, and it becomes this big question in the minds of a lot of swing voters in battleground states. Okay, I don't like Hillary. I don't like Donald. I don't like them for some of the same reasons. I don't like them for some similar reasons. I mean, for some different reasons. But on which side do I want to lean?
I mean, they are completely not even acknowledging Blue Lives Matter. It's all Black Lives Matter at the DNC.
Do I want...
They could get a family member of a Dallas police officer who was shot at that Black Lives Matter protest, or one of the Baton Rouge police officers' family members, but they are choosing not to focus on that.
And it'd also be interesting to see what kind of protests occur during the DNC, and if this spirals at all and turns into some facsimile of 68 in Chicago, because if this is a 68 election and Democrats seem intent on driving to that place where it's law and order on one side versus kind of professional agitators on the other, those swing voters in battleground states, where do you think the majority of them are going to fall, even if they don't like Donald Trump? They may not like Donald Trump, but I think it's a real reach for many, many people, particularly some more of your consistent, even though squishy voters in battleground states, to say, I want to align myself with what I'm seeing on the streets in Philadelphia, in some of these other cities, what I'm hearing from the likes of the Black Lives Matter crowd. Boy, I think that's reach, and it's frankly, as much as people are saying Tim Kaine was a safe pick, and that illustrates how confident Hillary is about this election, I would say overconfident. Tom and Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I'm kind of hoping Michelle Obama will show up tonight and remind the American people of her words of the past, that she was only or never proud of this country until after her husband won the nomination. And secondly, I think the Republicans right now should start reviving the old Smokey the Bear commercials, and instead of saying only you can prevent forest fires, the bear should be saying only you can punish Hillary Clinton, since our system of justice has fallen apart and she seems to be above the law. Only the voters can punish Hillary Clinton.
Thanks, Tom.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Citadel LLC has an opening for the position of quantitative analyst located in Chicago, Illinois. Job duties for the position include conducting empirical research and statistical analyses of equity and related securities within the long-term quantitative strategies group. This is a full-time position. To apply, send resumes by mail to Employee Relations/LW, attention R0260. Citadel LLC, 131 South Dearborn Street, 32nd floor, Chicago, Illinois 60603.
Here's some great news. Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Tabota & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
Hey there, this is Eric Metaxas. Lately, I've been telling you about Liberty University's online degree programs. Liberty University is the world's largest Christian university with over 95,000 students studying around the world through Liberty's online programs. While there are a lot of universities who've jumped into online education, few can deliver on the promise of a quality education with such flexibility, and even fewer can actually point to a graduate of their online program like my friend Morgan from Nashville.
I did it. I actually got my degree from Liberty University. 2 degrees, actually. Not only has this process taught me self-discipline, I've also learned that it is never too late to fulfill your dreams. And I did it all online. I did it, and you can too.
Call Liberty University now at 800-424-9595. That's 800-424-9595, 800-424-9595, or visit liberty.edu/online. Flexible, affordable, possible. Liberty University Online.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
70% of Americans think the country's on the wrong track, so how does Hillary position herself as an agent for change? We'll ask Ron Fournier from the National Journal at 8:38.
And then, before we close out the show, we'll find out the real reason why Dan Proft has not invited me to the White Sox-Cubs game. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
75 degrees. Police are holding off 3 for questioning, holding them after a deadly shooting at a nightclub in Fort Myers, Florida. At least 2 are dead, as many as 16 others hurt. The shooting happened this morning during a teen night. Some at the club were as young as 13. The theme of today's opening session for the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia is United Together. The convention will kick off around 4 Eastern Time. The woman tapped to take over the Democratic National Committee temporarily, saying she is sorry on behalf of the party for the hacked emails that led to the resignation of DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
I wanted to apologize for the salacious, insensitive, very mean-spirited emails that were referenced to in the WikiLeaks.
DNC Vice Chair Donna Brazile will take over after emails raised questions about the party's impartiality in the primary campaign. Verizon buying tech giant Yahoo. It's a deal worth close to $5 billion. A Texas county sheriff says an officer has been shot and killed in his own home just north of Austin. Travis County Sheriff Greg Hamilton saying the body of Sergeant Craig Hutchinson was found early today in the backyard of his own home in Round Rock, Texas. Severe storms knocked out power to thousands, and the CTA had service along 3 train lines disrupted temporarily because of strong storms Sunday night. Police are searching for the person who shot and killed a teen in Calumet City. Authorities say officers found 17-year-old Jason Griffin wounded Saturday in the 600 block of Hirsch. He was pronounced dead later at the scene. And a Republican state representative is resigning from the Illinois House, citing cybersecurity issues. Representative Ron Sandak of Downers Grove also says he's no longer willing to miss important family events. Cubs over Milwaukee 6-5.
The
White
choice
Sox
of Tim Kaine
take a pair from the
was a
Tigers,
slap in
and
the
news
face to
is
Bernie
a service
Sanders
of
and
Aruba
everybody.
Tourism.
I was shocked.
Aruba is
I
your
love it
happy
from my
escape
standpoint.
to a perfect
You could
weather
say
paradise.
it's an expansion.
Relax at a
I'm
luxury
looking,
resort on the beach.
to me, it was an
Voted
optimistic
some
speech
of the
because
best
What makes it optimistic in your view?
Because we're going to sell.
I like Teddy's fine. Again, I don't want his endorsement. If he gives it, I will not accept it, just so you understand. If he gives it, I will not accept it. It won't matter.
On AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is frustrated with the president's reaction to the Dallas police
The
shooting.
choice of Tim Kaine
will blow your
I'm grateful
mind.
to you, Hillary,
I think it's
for the trust
very
that
hard
you
to
placed in
untangle
me.
the motives of this shooter.
Really? That's the kind of rhetoric, that's the kind of crap that makes people frustrated at the double standard.
Do you want a trash-talking president or a bridge-building president?
At 9. Right
So
before
here's how
Dallas
Hillary and I are going to
on
continue
AM
that work
560.
with a strong, progressive agenda.
Buy one cabinet and get one.
So I can see there's a little bit of interest in my being here, and I appreciate that interest, and a little bit of interest from the press. But that really shows you that Florida is the most significant battleground state that will make sure that Hillary Clinton is elected President of the United States of America. We are the state that will deliver the White House to make sure that we can continue to make the progress that we have been able to make under Barack Obama for the last 8 years. I'm so proud to have been able to serve as the chair of the Democratic National Committee.
Whenever I need him. This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. I have a simple message for you. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
It is 8:36. Let's get an update on the roads. Guardian Security Services Traffic Center time. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. We're seeing delays in Palos Hills, 107th and LaGrange Road due to traffic signal issues. Also, northbound Lakeshore Drive, it's jammed from Hayes to 57th where signals are flashing red. Gaden's is 19 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, but outbound 35. The Kennedy, 45 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 48. The Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. 44 minutes from Manheim, outbound it's 50 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. The Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Tri-State, delays are northbound, 75th to 31st, and Roosevelt to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway clogged up Beverly to Roselle. The Reagan Tollway's now fine. Veterans Memorial slows 63rd to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Sunny, warm, less humid this afternoon with a high of 88. Clear and 67 overnight. 77 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
It's Feldco's biggest sale of the year. Get $1 installation on all windows, siding, and doors.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Hey, don't be caught without the facts. Listen to me, Sean Hannity, this afternoon at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
You are smiling from ear to ear over there.
Well, it's interesting. Outgoing DNC Chairman DWS, excuse me, she just addressed the Florida delegates, and I wouldn't say she was warmly received.
No, she wasn't. You can hear it. People are holding up signs, real quick makeshift signs that they printed out that said emails in big black letters.
So I can see there's a little bit of interest in my being here, and I appreciate that interest, and a little bit of interest from the press. But that really shows you that Florida is the most significant battleground state that will make sure that Hillary Clinton is elected President of the United States of America. We are the state that will deliver the White House to make sure that we can continue to make the progress that we have been able to make under Barack Obama for the last 8 years. I'm
ceremonious.
I mean-
All the talk of the problems with unity on the Republican side, and it seems to be a little bit of disunity on the Dems.
You think?
She kind of poked the hornet's nest of Bernie supporters. By the way, the other...
Why did she even speak? Does she not know what's going on in the world around her?
Well, I think she does. I mean, the Florida delegation. She's
Hello.
running for re-election in Florida. Difficult, I suppose, not to keep your commitment to speak to the delegates of your state. Boy, I don't know. Why don't we get an expert opinion on that? And that is from Ron Fournier, senior political columnist at National Journal, who joins us now. Ron, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Quite a scene, huh?
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh. She's lucky she didn't get a shoe thrown at her.
Well, right. Yeah, they had to do a duck move, a
a bush
GW
move,
move,
yeah.
right. Well, yeah, so how much of a lasting impact do you think, not just the protests and the jeering, but the underlying content of some of those emails, particularly things that I would say are pretty sensitive, like going after someone's faith?
Yeah, there's two lasting impacts coming out of the emails. One is the hypocrisy and rigging of the system against Bernie Sanders, where people inside of DNC clearly were working for Hillary Clinton, and clearly were saying and doing things that are intolerant and are not becoming of a party that likes to believe that the Republican Party has a monopoly on intolerance. So that's one thing. The other is how these emails got out. That the DNC was hacked, and apparently was hacked by Russian intelligence agencies, and then the emails were released. Now, we don't know why they were released, and if they were released directly by the Russian intelligence agencies, but it sure does raise the possibility that the Russians are trying to influence this election. And when you have the Republican nominee who's clearly a fan of Putin, and his campaign manager has worked in that part of the world, and Donald Trump hasn't released his taxes, so we don't know what, if any, work he's done with the Russians. It makes you, and he's rolling back on the influence of NATO, something that really favors Putin's policies. That could have a lasting impact as well. And you could argue if there's any there, it would be even longer lasting than this incredible show of disunity among Democrats.
So it sounds like you're saying that Donald Trump is in bed with Putin.
Well, it's saying that's what Robbie Mook is charged.
He's definitely in bed with Putin as far as, he has stated his admiration for Putin as a leader. And his geopolitical views align with Putin's. Putin would love it if the United States would pull out of NATO or abandon allies who aren't paying their dues.
Yeah, but
now what we don't know is whether or not this email leak has anything to do with that. But certainly Trump has good feelings towards Putin.
Well, but Hillary Clinton referred to Assad as a reformer too. So
oh yeah, right. Well, okay,
it's a far cry. The charge that Robbie Mook, Clinton's campaign manager, made over the weekend. Experts say this, and if this happened, there's a lot of unnamed experts and a lot of ifs and ands. And Paul Manafort responded, said, there's no truth to, and again, that's just his statement, so it will, be held up to scrutiny. But he has suggested that question was absurd. He did so with Stephanopoulos.
Yeah, but Paul Manafort.
We lost Ron Fournier. All right, let's see if we can get Ron Fournier back on the blower here. But in the interim, here is Paul Manafort on with Stephanopoulos responding to the question of essentially coordination with Putin.
Are there any ties between Mr. Trump, you, or your campaign, and Putin and his regime?
No, there are not. It's absurd, and there's no basis to it.
Now, what Ron Fournier said about Manafort having business interests in that part of the world.
In Ukraine, right?
That's true. Also, there is history with the Trump business empire of getting funding for real estate projects from Russian investors, too. And, Russian investors with a lot of money tend to be plutocrats that are allied with Putin. So I'm not saying it's completely illegitimate, but, we got Ron Fournier back, so let's let him finish his point. Ron, sorry about that. Ron, you back?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I was going to say on Manafort, he's not somebody that either one of us should trust his word. He spent 2 days in Cleveland arguing that what we now know was plagiarism wasn't plagiarism. And as far as Donald Trump goes, I'm not saying that the Russians are trying to fix the election. I am saying that there is credible reporting now in the New York Times from credible sources that the Russian intelligence agencies did hack the DNC.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, we don't know where the story goes. We got to make sure we don't make too many assumptions, but you do have two separate stories. One that's very negative towards the Democrats, and that is the disunity and the way their process was rigged. And then we have how the way in which these emails got released, which might not reflect very well on the Republicans.
Yeah, but Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she should know if she's in that position of power not to write things down. What do you say? Never write it down. If you want to have that conversation with somebody, have it on a park bench somewhere.
Yeah, and and once you get caught doing what everyone knew you were doing, and in this case, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence before the emails that she was putting her thumb on the scale. She should, frankly, not just resign effective Thursday. She should be on the first train to D.C. now, go back to the headquarters, fire half her staff, turn in her keys, and go home.
And what about one of the other emails that was of particular interest was the Politico reporter who had essentially provided the story he was going to publish to the DNC before he published as a journalist. What's your reaction to that?
I got to tell you, I'm not as alarmed by that as most people because I've been in the business a long time. There's a big difference between giving somebody your story and saying, please approve this, and letting the sources dictate what's written, which is totally unethical, and somebody should be fired for that. There's a difference between that and letting your sources know what you're writing so that they can catch things that you have wrong, so that they have an opportunity to at least make their case if they think that your story is tonally wrong or has the wrong voice to it. I've made it a practice for years to call up sources and read them my stories, which really isn't much different than giving them the email version. But I've read it
I would never do that. I would call them and say, am I misquoting you? But I would never give them the power. And what reporter sends a DNC article?
You're saying fact-checking.
Let me explain to you how I do it and why it gives me complete power. Complete and utter power, more power than most reporters realize they have. I will call up my sources and I will read them the story. And they know, I either told them explicitly on each phone call or they know because I'm doing it for years. They know that I'm not giving them the authority to change anything, and I'm not promising to change anything, but I want them to let me know if I have anything wrong. Now, this comes because I grew up in the wire service tradition at the Associated Press. I knew that if I had something wrong, I was going to find out that it was wrong either right before I pushed the button and it went out to everybody or right afterwards. And I'd rather know that I'm wrong before I publish it.
All right.
So I get the person on the phone, let me finish, and I read it to them. And then what happens is they will argue with me, not on facts, but they'll try to spin me. Oh, you should move that paragraph up, or oh, I wish you wouldn't have that in there. And as they get more agitated and more concerned that I'm going to report exactly what I read to them, then I have control. Then they start getting desperate. Then they start telling me things that they wouldn't have already told me. And I can't tell you how many times that I've gotten more information out of people because I got them on the phone to read them my story. I've maintained control. I'm fact-checking it, but I'm also, in effect, getting another interview out of them.
Yeah,
I respect that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
That's completely journalistically ethical. Now, if you're sending it to a source and saying, I need your approval, then you should be fired and kicked out of the business. There's a difference.
Before we let you go, Ron, I want to get your take on something actually Debbie Wasserman Schultz just said to the Florida delegates, talking about building on the progress we've made for under 8 years of President Obama with Hillary Clinton as our next president. Well, the problem with that line of argumentation is 70% of people think the country's on the wrong track. So how does Hillary present herself as an agent for change into that public opinion?
She can't. She is the candidate of status quo at a time of change, which is why a candidate is flawed and temperamentally ill-suited for the presidency is now ahead of her in most polls. The only chance she has, her best opportunity, is to disqualify Donald Trump, is to make the case that I may not be perfect and you might really want to have change. And I know you even want change in the worst way, America, but Donald Trump would be the worst way.
All right. He is Ron Fournier, senior political columnist at the National Journal. Ron, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
So why I didn't make the starting lineup for the Sox-Cubs Crosstown series. Dan Propp's going to explain
also the
next.
Crosstown series, not just the Crosstown series.
Why can't I speak English? Here's your forecast today. Mostly sunny skies, warm, less humid by this afternoon. A high of 88 tonight. Clear for the Sox-Cubs game. Dan. Low of 67, Dan. And then tomorrow, plenty of sunshine. More humid for the second game of the series, Dan. And a high near 90. Now let's get the travel times. Jim Telemonte, did you get the invite?
No, that's okay. It's all good, Amy. Sox fans will persevere in the end. So we've been through worse. Black Sox scandal, anyway. On the Edens outbound right now, it's pretty heavy from Montrose to Winnetka Road. 35 minutes, Montrose to Lake Cook. Inbound fine at 19. Just a little tight on the spur past Waukegan Road. Kennedy has delays. Keeler to the Burn Circle, 45 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, quicker in the Express. Outbound 48 minutes downtown to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes. Thorndale to downtown.
Proud on our values, and you will see me every day between now and November 8th on the campaign trail, and we will lock arms, and we will not stand down.
From Hayes to 57th, traffic lights are flashing red. Still have delays on the northbound Veterans Memorial, 63rd to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I am so glad I did it. I'm just mad at myself for waiting so long. Hi, Amy Jacobson here for CertaPro Painters. You know, our front porch had chipping and peeling. It looked old and run down, but thanks to CertaPro Painters, it looks brand new again. And trust me, my neighbors are happy I did it. And you know, it's not too late to book that painting project. But don't wait. Be sure to get on CertaPro Painters' summer painting schedule today. Call 800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You know, CertaPro Painters will work around your busy schedule to get your home looking picture perfect for all your summer entertaining. That's why CertaPro Painters says we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, it's not too late to get that painting project off your to-do list. Call now, 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, or visit CertaPro.com today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
Well, I had back pain for the last 40 years. 4 days after I started taking this stuff, it's gone.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
Are you or someone you know fighting cancer and struggling financially? If so, find out now if you qualify for Life Credit Company's Living Benefit Program. If qualified, you may receive up to 50% of your life insurance policy's death benefit now, while still providing coverage for your family. Cancer patients are nearly 3 times more likely to file bankruptcy than those without the disease. But cancer does not have to mean financial ruin if you qualify for Life Credit Company's Living Benefit Program. Make a 2-minute call now to Life Credit Company and find out if you're eligible to receive up to 50% of your policy's death benefit now, while still preserving coverage for your family. Call 800-981-8700. That's 800-981-8700. 2 minutes is all it takes. Call 800-981-8700. Or learn more online at lifecreditcompany.com. That's lifecreditcompany.com. Not available in all states.
AM 560, The Answer.
So what time are you
So
picking
before
me?
we get to that,
No.
before we get to that
Yes.
nonsense, Debbie Wasserman Schultz just addressed the Florida delegation, and it turned into an Eagles game. Boo birds are out.
Marianne Ahern caught this on her Twitter.
Proud on our values, and you will see me every day between now and November 8th on the campaign trail, and we will lock arms, and we will not stand down. We will ensure that the people of Florida.
Yeah, if you want to see the video, Marianne Ahern, NBC5 political reporter, is right there, standing right next to the lectern, watching her get booed.
No brotherly love for DWS.
Hey, nice.
Let's go to Kevin on the north side.
Yeah, how you doing this morning? And, everybody's pointing their finger at Trump and the Russians and this big conspiracy, like the FBI really knows what they're doing in it. Why isn't anybody looking at Bernie supporters and his people on the left? They would have the most to gain. They're the ones that are showing up in, at six-figure numbers like an army at the convention. Why isn't anybody looking at Bernie people?
Because they don't have any job skills. That's why they're Bernie people. So what are they going to hack into?
They're sore losers.
Thanks for the call, Kevin.
They're not giving up the fight, man.
Sean from Elmwood Park, succinct.
First off, Amy,
yes.
Prof asked you a direct question and you deflected. He said to you, what would you like to see Michelle Obama do at the convention? So I'm going to answer for you. And that is, I want to see her do what Dustin Hoffman did at the end of Tootsie. Rip off his wig and confess that she is truly Reggie Love's twin brother, Percy. And Caitlyn Jenner ain't got nothing on him, because I've been saying it for 8 years. That's number one. Number two, Paul Manafort, involved in an oligarch scam in Ukraine for billions of dollars after he was involved in the hundreds of millions of fraud under the Reagan housing thing. So you're going to tell me this guy gets to comment on who's a bigger scumbag, him or Debbie Wasserman Schultz? He makes Wasserman look like a Girl Scout, that Wayne Newton freak.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you have hard water, the Limescale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Limescale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to goodclearwater.com. That's goodclearwater.com.
You don't have to be a retail giant or government agency to be the victim of a costly data breach. If you run a website and collect customer data, your small to mid-sized business is just as likely to be targeted by hackers. The Barracuda Web Application Firewall provides cost-effective instant security against automated and targeted attacks, making this WAF a must-have for your SMB. Reclaim your network. Try a Barracuda web app firewall risk-free at barracuda.com/WAF.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
The success of a mid-sized business often comes down to one thing: managing your cash flow. I'm Ann Dollagell, Treasury Management Executive at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, we take a personalized and proactive approach to structuring your cash management solutions to keep your financial assets safe and working for you. Our automated accounts receivable and accounts payable technology allows your business to grow without adding to your overhead expenses. And what truly sets Signature Bank apart is our personal approach. We get to know your business by rolling up our sleeves to work alongside you. Call me today for a review of your company's operational challenges.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
TriStar Estates is thrilled to call the Kankakee County Fair home this year. Literally speaking, TriStar Estates will have one of their brand new champion model homes at this year's fair, and you can experience their exciting walkthrough exhibit. The Kankakee County Fair takes place August 3rd through 7th at the Kankakee County Fairgrounds. TriStar Estates is raffling prizes at the fair and offering special promotions during August. For details about the TriStar Estates community in advance of the Kankakee County Fair, check out TriStarEstates.com or call TriStar Estates at 815-932-0200. Visit the TriStar Estates Champion Model Home at the Kankakee County Fair for a great time and learn all about the changing trend of the manufactured home living environment. You'll see how wonderful these beautiful and affordable homes really are. Call 815-932-0200 for more info or visit TriStarEstates.com. That's TristarEstates.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, you know what?
You know, I see the Wayne Newton compare to Paul Manafort. I was going to go Engelbert Humperdinck, but I think Wayne Newton is a better call.
Really? And I think Tim Kaine, he reminds me a little bit of Tom Tunney. He's a little squishy. You know,
Yeah,
when he was
he's-
speaking the other day, there's something, I know he says he's boring and there's no, you know, he's not a flamboyant politician, but he's just little.
He's kind of a cross between a suburban dad and David Niven.
All right, so Dan, what time are you picking me up for the big game?
You just go ahead and wait on your stoop. You know, I'll
Okay.
be by or not.
All right, great. Well, we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Putting this movie in my queue. Very good Tootsie movie. 75 clouds and sunshine. Storms can cause some damage, and they did overnight in the burbs and in the city of Chicago. 2 women killed in an I-57 crash. We'll have the latest on that. The White Sox suspend Chris Sale for a few days over the cutting of the jerseys. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Some